The following is a presentation of The Day.
It's spooky season, Friday Night Lights at its finest, a beautiful aerial shot of East Lyme High School, and they are the host of a little Friday Night Magic. It's trick-or-treat time here in the ECC. 2 1-4 teams with new coaches, new ideas, and hopes of turning around in the second half will be under the microscope as the NFA Wildcats come down to play the East Lyme Vikings, and all of the action is live on Game Day. Game Day is brought to you by Waterford Dental Health. Gear up for Game Day with a winning smile from Waterford Dental Health. Located in Waterford, we're your go-to for top-notch dental care in a relaxed, friendly setting. Whether you need a routine checkup, a cosmetic boost, or enhanced treatment, our experienced team has you covered. Enjoy the game with confidence and comfort. Schedule your appointment today at Waterford Dental Health, where your smile is our top priority. Visit us online or call now to book. Game Day brought to you by Philomena's. It's always Game Day at Philomena's, southeastern Connecticut's go-to destination for events, fine food, and great atmosphere. Offering an all-new brunch menu, wing and drink specials, and live music, Philomena's provides the premier atmosphere for viewing all your college and pro football. Stop in and see Mike or Sarah sit down at the brand new bar. Reserve your party in one of the 3 private dining areas because everyone's family at Philomena. Great menu, great venue. Casey O'Neill along with the coach, Pasta Santabria, and we turn our attention to 2 teams that on the face of it might be struggling a little bit at 1-4, but really it's about 2 new coaches, first year with the program, trying to get kids to buy into their system, their culture, and this is the game at the mid-season point that they've circled. This is a winnable game to jumpstart us moving forward.
Definitely, it's going to be a game where we're going to have to see perseverance and that second half mentality. What they're going to do, we'll find out.
We'll talk more and preview the matchup when we come back on the other side of the national anthem.
Julia Schmidt and Bethany Gu.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets and the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great job with the national anthem by East Lyme. And taking a little bit of a dive into these 2 teams, they both come in 1-4. Their records mirror each other. They both lost their first 2 games, won their third, and have lost 2 straight. The difference, East Lyme has played 3 ECC opponents, and it wasn't until week 5 for NFA that they played their first opponent. They opened with Ludlow, Bunnell, Ward, and West Haven. Not to great results either. And finally got an ECC opponent in Fitch. They lost a 13-12 game. Ironically, East Lyme 35-33 against Fitch. So really, we don't have any idea what these 2 teams are in reference to the rest of the ECC. One opponent in Fitch, and they kind of had the same result. We do think both teams are capable of putting up points. And we're going to be looking forward to a highly competitive game between 2 of the EC's biggest schools. Finn Bruno will kick it off for East Lyme. They're in the home maroon with the white trim. They'll be going left to right on your screen. NFA in the white and red. on the road going right to left will have the first possession of the ball game here on a beautiful October Friday night. Bruno with the big leg drives the ball deep down to the 10-yard line, where NFA will get a nice return from Klehar to about the 20, we'll call it the 22-yard line, and we'll get our first chance to see Aaron Driscoll, the junior quarterback, NFA, son of Jay Driscoll, one of the great educators over there at NFA. Driscoll has a big arm. We've seen him get some reps each of the last couple of years. Now it is firmly in his hands, and for them to win tonight, they're going to have to be able to throw the football. First down, NFA comes out spread. 4 receivers, single setback, and Driscoll from the shotgun. Motion across the formation. East Lyme shifts, looking like they're going to play a zone. Over the middle, pass is caught by Jaden Croxton. Short gain on the play. East Lyme tackles him after a gain of 2.
Casey did a great job with reading that. That is actually a zone play that they're working on when there's trips formations. I was seeing that during pregame, that they do play that spread, and we're going to see some kind of dynamic defense out of it.
Normally, when you send somebody in motion, football 101 out there.
That's right.
When you send someone in motion, it's designed to see if someone follows them, indicating man versus zone. East Lyme shifted, but no one followed him, indicating the zone.
Perfect.
See, I pay attention to you.
You got it, my brother.
There's motion again across the formation. And a little delay handoff, spin move. Lurcius gains about 4. It'll bring up 3rd and 5, and a nice tackle on the play by the Vikings coming in and cleaning up. And they're going to call it a short 5, so more like 4.5. NFA on its first possession. I thought that play had a little bit of room, a good closing by East Lyme's defense.
Yeah, definitely. That zone concept would actually keep that player in that area, and that's where he was at to make the play.
So 3rd and 4.5. Driscoll from the shotgun. Motion across from Cleary. Driscoll rolls right. Looking, zips, has a man, and it's just overthrown. He was looking for Croxton. Incomplete. Falls at the feet of Maxim. Alex Maxim of East Lyme had a chance at the tipped ball, but NFA will go 3 and out and punt it away on 4th down.
4th and 5 for NFA.
Now Driscoll, the quarterback, is also the punter, which is always, fun for us because it always lends the possibility of some trickery. I saw him punting in the pre-games. Definitely has a big leg. Back deep, Jaden Brown for East Lyme stands at his own 40. The kick spirals to Brown, who fields it at the 40-yard line, and he's going to be blown dead at the 39 because he caught it with his knee on the ground, and he thought he had a return, but high school rules game can't have that knee on the ground.
Now, once that knee's on the ground, it's a dead ball, and that's where you got to mark it. It's a good call by the referee there.
So East Lyme will have its first possession of the ball game, which means we'll turn it over to their quarterback, junior Jacob Garrow. East Lyme also likes to throw the ball, and Garrow has come on and on. First couple weeks of the season, East Lyme off to a really slow start. They were shut out by both Joel Barlow and Killingly. Then they scored 17 points against Branford. They scored 33 points against Fitch. New London kind of buzzed them, but they're starting to put some more points on the board, Garrow being a big factor. Garrow's going to keep it himself, goes left, nothing there. Great pursuit to the football. Evan Gigliotti of NFA cleaned it up. Starting Andre Barakat was the first play on the scene there for NFA. That's a loss of 3.
2nd down and 13.
Definitely some good energy on the defensive side for NFA right there in that play.
East Lyme hurries up to the football. They're going to say he lost 3.5, so 2nd and 13.5. Garrow from the shotgun trips right. Hands the ball off to Cyrus Sister, and a gain of maybe 2 back to almost the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the defensive end, Cortland Beetle, number 44, did a great job from keeping that edge and making that running back go inside where his teammates were there to wrap up.
So 3rd and 10.5. Garrow will operate at the shotgun. This time, trip receivers are out to his left. Going to throw. Pressured from the edge. Out in the flat. Pass complete And a great open field tackle. Sestair made the catch, and Croxton for NFA, one-on-one out in the flat. And if you have a cornerback that can tackle like that out, I go back to New London, Paul Winston.
That's right.
The technique.
Grand
the
Coulee.
technique.
All technique. Great fundamentals right there. Tackling is such a important thing in football. It's got to be a vitamin you do every day for practice.
Bruno, the punter as well. We know he has a good leg when it's on the tee or on the ground. Let's see how he does from the punt. NFA will send two people back to return the punt. They stand at their own 25-yard line. So both teams 3 and out, feeling each other out on their first possession. Good snap, Bruno. Side of his foot and out of bounds. Hard to tell sometimes. Some of the new kickers like to angle themselves that way, shield themselves from the rush. Bruno immediately turned to the side and really never had a chance to elevate that punt the way that I think he would have liked to.
Yeah, definitely it's a technique. And there was some pressure coming from the left side there. You know, it seemed like a couple of coaches were trying to get the extra player to go in there and line up. So, you know, it's something to think about. If you're on the other side, you see something like that, there could be a potential punt block down the road. So
Driscoll will operate this time. Twin backs in the backfield with him. He'll stay in the shotgun, however. Handoff. Bouncing it outside with a decent run is Ethan Graham. Graham, I think that time the patience gained maybe an extra 2 or 3 yards. That bounce, that first bounce outside is really what did it for him.
yeah, nice little power play with the guard wrapping on the inside and then that back taking the outside edge. You know, something that looks like it's open. They continue to attack at both sides. That could be a lot of positive yards down the road for this team.
2nd and 5. Ball just over the 40-yard line. Croxton, jet sweep, wrapped up in the backfield. What a beautiful tackle. Kai Dupre got him deep into the backfield. A huge loss on the play. NFA way back in the wrong direction.
I was seeing that during the pregame when there's a motion on that jet motion. That edge player is kind of given like a green light to blitz off the edge there just to keep that guy inside. That was a great play right there.
Love that call defensively. They had the jet sweep red the whole way. That's going to bring up 3rd and 14 after the big loss on 2nd down. Driscoll's going to throw from the shotgun. Plenty of time. Down the sideline, out of bounds over midfield, and that'll be 4th down. And just like in their first possession, a 3 and out from NFA. So NFA will punt it away as they did before. This time a new returner, it looks like, going back for East Lyme. Nope, it is Jaden Brown. He'll go back, but this time they're going to tell him don't kneel.
That's right, don't kneel. Got a great chance to make a great run right now.
Found back deep for the punt from NFA from Driscoll.
Good snap. Driscoll gets the punt off, drives it, hits the turf, bounces right to Brown. Brown shows some speed, cuts it inside to the 40-yard line where he'll be gang tackled by a host of Wildcats. And East Lyme will have its 2nd possession right on the 40-yard line. Brown did the smart thing, letting the ball bounce. It got that fortunate bounce right to him, but really a nice job of containment from NFA.
Definitely. This is right now, it's a game of field position. As you can see, Slime is taking advantage of it, trying to get across that 50 and get that opportunity to try to get some points.
So 1st and 10, East Lyme. Garrow will stand on his own 35-yard line. Good snap. Handoff. Nothing there. Sestair on the carry, and Ethan Graham met him in the backfield. Sestair was lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage at 2nd and 10.
Ethan did a great job. He used his hands there to get that separation, and when he read it, got off the block and made a good tackle.
2nd and 10. Garrow. And I think he got his own guy to jump, and I think this is going to be an offsides against, or illegal procedure. Excuse me, an offsides against NFA. It goes 5. His own man stood up, but it was after NFA. That's always, I always love when it's the game of chicken, right?
Yep.
Who made who jump?
Who made who jump, right?
Both guys moved. The question was who moved first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a gift for East Lyme. It gets him a 5-yard gain. 2nd and 5 from the 45. Hand off to Sestair. Great job, NFA, flowing to the football. And finally, game day favorite Wyatt Woodcock knocks him out of bounds. Short of the first down, but it'll be 3rd and 2, maybe a yard and a half, which is a big difference thanks to that 5-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Woodcock, of course, has been in multiple grade 8s, as he is a ball hawk from the secondary. he likes to go find the football. We'll see what the NFA defense can draw up here. Right at midfield, East Lyme has it 3rd and a half a yard. Garrow from the shotgun sends Brown in motion. Little pop pass to Brown. And what a hit from the secondary. Flying out of the secondary was Xavier Sebastian. And Sebastian buried Brown. Loss of maybe 5. And I think that's going to be enough to send Bruno into the game to punt it away.
That was great. I saw him read it down the line, and then when he went down the line, he had that good angle of pursuit. Sometimes you have these young kids that just try to chase from the back end on out. He had a good angle, great finished job, and now we got them punting.
So Bruno will stand at his own 35-yard line. NFA will be looking to contain field position, almost blocked. Bruno gets it away. And a nice return in the other direction by Cleary to the 40-yard line. So the game is being played in between the 40s right now. Cleary gets NFA up to the 40-yard line. Almost blocked. NFA had a shot at it. And Bruno did a nice job getting it away. Driscoll will come back in here for the Wildcats, who have really not done much. Both teams not shown any real success on the ground, and both defensives have seen willing to commit to sending run blitzes to stop those jet sweeps in particular.
Yeah, definitely playing some edges right there. That's putting some good speed and also containing them.
So 1st and 10, ball at the 40-yard line. Driscoll, one receiver right, 3 left. Handoff outside it goes to Magnus King. Magnus gets back to the line of scrimmage perhaps, and East Lyme flowing to the run very well.
You know what I'm saying is, like, sometimes second half when you have a season that's kind of tough in the beginning is what kind of character you have. It seems like East Lyme's defense is going back to the fundamentals, using their hands, getting off blocks, and making plays.
Driscoll to throw. Deep ball. Has a man in the seam, and it's just off the fingertips of Barros. No, excuse me, check that, of Cleary. Cleary running that seam route, had it, it was there, and that's an inch or 2 away from being a touchdown, but instead it's 3rd and 10.
That was a very close play. Great pass protection that time by the Wildcats offensive line.
I like that route. They've shown they're playing zone. That's a zone-beating route. Right down the seam, making multiple guys have to cover an area. That was a well-designed play and a good throw. Just fell incomplete. 3rd and long. Driscoll with time. Ball over the middle, and that was overthrown. That time he was looking for Barros, and it was just over the top, and it'll be 4th down, and Driscoll will stay on to punt. So, the first time I thought that was a good play. That time I thought he threw a dangerous ball.
Yeah, well, that cover 3, what you have is that free safety in the middle, keeping everything in. You want to kind of throw right between that safety and corner on the opposite side, and that was a play that was bad read.
When we have a moment of break time, I want to talk about a play in the game I saw this weekend that was described so well to me. Driscoll with the line drive. Brown takes it at the 30-yard line and nowhere to go. Gets back to the 32. Both teams tackling really well. This past weekend, watching the San Francisco and Kansas City game.
Yes.
No, I take that back. Watching the Tampa Bay game on Monday night. They showed how Mike Evans ran a route, got open for a touchdown, but it involved 3 different components. It involved a wide receiver in motion, taking a route in a way that drew someone to him. Evans recognizing what the coverage was and sitting into the right spot, and Mayfield knowing he was going to do it and throwing it before he did it. So it all worked out, and I'll talk about it after this play. Looks like Dupre on the carry, back to the original line of scrimmage. So we'll talk about it when we have some time, but the reason I bring it up is, so many people at home sometimes think it's drop back, look for the guy, wait for him to get open, and throw it to him. when you get to the higher levels, even here in high school,
Yes.
it's all about one team. Someone's got to recognize what the other team is doing, and people have to be in sync with one another. Garrow to throw, hitch and go into the flat, has a complete. Greg Page with the catch, and he'll gain about 5.
Number 6, Greg Page.
It'll bring up 3rd and short, the most manageable 3rd down here that East Lyme has seen in the early going.
Those concepts coming across is read plays that you're going to see when we talk about it after this play. We'll show you what read does.
Garrow on 3rd and 3 from the shotgun. And looking over to the sideline, they're going to change the play as it comes in. Now Garrow comes up, lets his line know what's going on. 3rd and 2. They looks like they waited for the defense, and they'll check out of their original play. It's a wide toss. Dupre, and he's not going to get there. He's not even going to get back to the line of scrimmage. Flying to the football was Josiah, I think it's Sukes, because I'm not going to call him Sucks. Suses with the tackle there, and that's going to bring up 4th and 4. And
these defensive ends for the Wildcats have been holding that edge off pretty good.
And Bruno will punt it away.
Bruno back for another punt.
Sebastian will be the lone back. Let's see if they send an extra person, and they almost got the punt the last time. Sebastian will stand at his own 26-yard line. Flag on the play. Bruno gets the punt off, and it's a boomer this time, and it takes a great bounce for East Lyme. It will change field position and pin NFA inside their 15-yard line if the flag doesn't negate that.
Flag on the play.
Still waiting on the flag. We'll see what the officials. Looks like they're doing procedure against East Lyme. That's going to negate a huge, huge punt. I assume NFA is going to want them to do it again.
I would as well.
That ball got downed right at the 15-yard line. So somebody moved for East Lyme, so they'll repunt it. So in the game where Tampa Bay, they have Mike Evans wide left, one of the best receivers in football, and the other receiver comes in motion and is next to Evans. They recognized that the defense was playing a cover 2 shell.
Yep.
So they had a two deep safety look.
Yep.
And so the other receiver ran directly at the cornerback and then peeled out towards the safety. Once the corner rotated his hips, indicating he had the guy in the flat, at that moment, they know the safety has to take one guy.
Right.
And NFA, well, we'll consider that a moment because NFA declined it. They're going to take it from the 15. A surprise. Handoff. Good gain. And up close to a first down. On first down is Magnus King. So as soon as Evans saw the hips of the defensive back swivel, meaning that he had the flat, he ran into the seam, which was an open area. He trusted that his other wide receiver was drawing the safety, but he knew that he only had about a 20-yard window before the other safety would come into play. So he sat into that window, and the ball awaited him. He caught it, turned around, and was able to then make a play. That ball could have been thrown deep, and it would have been intercepted, but everybody on the same page. Driscoll just high for his intended target. King incomplete. It'll be 3rd and short. And the point of that is the defense wasn't a bad defense. It was a good defense. It required the receiver to run a hard route to do his job, what they call that, that's being a good teammate route because he knows he's not getting the ball.
Right.
It requires recognition from the wide receiver and the quarterback on the other side, and then an execution of the play. So that's what we're seeing here tonight. It takes more than just recognition. Driscoll into double coverage and incomplete. Give Cleary credit for turning into a defensive back that time, as there was no real chance for that route. I think Driscoll would have liked that one back. That's an example of throwing the ball without real recognition of what was available to him. So Driscoll will punt, and it's been a real punt fest up till now.
Yep. The chess game of field position in football. Something special is going to happen. That's why I call it special teams.
I have two out-of-town scores for you after this punt from Driscoll. Brown back to receive. Excellent punt from Driscoll. Drives Brown right to the 40, and he is hit immediately by Tavera, and he'll have nowhere to go. So East Lyme will have it at the 40. Montville, a 37-yard field goal on top of Bacon Academy, 3-0. And Wyndham and Ledyard tied at 6 at the half.
Wow, at half.
In what Peter Wappy and I have described as, hey, what's the ECC all about this year in football? Because we have, I know one thing. I know Killingly's really good.
Yeah, they are.
Other than that, I can't tell you week to week what we're going to see.
Yeah, it's always a challenge. I mean, it was good to see Waterford play the way they played,
By the transitive property, the winner of the Montville Bacon game will have beaten Killingly. If we just do they beat them, who beat them, who beat them, who beat them, we'll have it all the way up the line. 1st and 10, East Lyme. Ball right at the 40-yard line. 41 seconds remaining in the quarter of a scoreless first quarter. Garrow will throw on first down. Plenty of time. Deep ball. High arcer into double coverage. And is it caught? Oh, my gosh. What a catch.
Awesome.
Greg Page went up and said, grade 8. Check me out.
That's right.
I went up into double coverage and brought it down.
I vouch for that one.
Greg Page, who has been number 1 in the grade 8, said, I want the yearly number 1. So I don't know.
He wants it all.
Lobbying for it early. There is a flag on the play, however. And it's all going to come back. So wait a minute.
That's bittersweet.
Oh, do you still get to make the grade 8 on a play that didn't count? I don't know if you can.
I don't know. I mean,
all videos count though.
Listen, the energy and the effort was there. He went to the highest point to catch that ball. Had 2 defenders right there, focused on the ball, made a great catch.
I think maybe we might have to show that to everybody again since it didn't count. So show it twice, it didn't count. It's going to back East Lyme up, however, and it'll be 1st and 15. Unfortunate as the clock winds here towards the end of the first period, but Garrow threw it up for grabs. NFA had 2 guys there. Page just went and got the football. Another flag on the play. Sestair with the carry, and NFA did a great job interior of the line, but another flag on the play here will. It looks like someone lined up, so it's either going to be an illegal shift or it could have even been 12 men if someone didn't get off in time, because that flag was thrown the second the ball was snapped.
Yeah, that second one was after. I think there was some unsport-like action talking going on. Hopefully they'll straighten that out.
Illegal procedure against East Lyme. That's going to back them up 5 more. So now it'll be 1st and 20 with 14 seconds remaining in a scoreless quarter. And just when East Lyme had sort of done a nice job getting the field position, 40 to 40, they're going in the wrong direction.
This is not good for East Lyme at this time.
1st and 20. What's the play design for that?
We got to be conservative, find out what you can do to get some good yardage. Screen plays could be something here. But I also noticed that the defensive line is really giving up both A gaps. They got to find a way to run it inside there.
That is the end of the first quarter. Quick out-of-town score. Bacon Academy on top, 7-3 of Montville. Scoreless here at East Lyme. We'll be back with your second quarter. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports. All of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce them. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some game day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community, and if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
My apologies to Jaden Brown, who was the number 1 grade 8 player for East Lyme, but this play by Greg Page should be a top play, but unfortunately it didn't count. We're about to start the second quarter. It is scoreless between East Lyme and NFA. East Lyme will have the football 1st and 20. Ball back at the 20-yard line, 25-yard line.
Looks like we're close to 25 there, brother.
Actually, they're at the 30 because they have to get to the 50. There we go. 1st and 20 from the 30. First down would be the 50. My brain is acting like I'm 120.
It's a spooky Friday.
Garrow sees the pressure, rolls, keeps it himself, trying to get a block from his receiver, and he'll get back about 8 yards of the penalty. Give Jacob Garrow credit for being tough right there and putting his helmet down as he gets 9 yards on first down.
Brought down by number 22, Xavier Sebastian.
So 11:41 remaining here in the half of this scoreless game. Neither team has been able to get anything going offensively. Both quarterbacks have had time to throw, just haven't really been able to make anything happen. Both running games, though, stifled by two very quick and blitzing defenses. Second down, Garrow to throw, pressure up the middle, out in the flat, he has Sestaire. Sestaire breaks a tackle and fights forward. It's going to give a 3rd and short as he crosses the 45-yard line. So give Sestaire credit. Cyrus is running with purpose.
That's right. Well, NFA has to give that up the way they're playing their coverage. That flat is wide open, so they can keep on tossing it to them until they adjust.
So 3rd and 3, ball at the 47-yard line. Garrow lets them know what he wants. They had a little bunch formation on the left-hand side, single setback to the right and one wide out right as Garrow will throw. Time now pressured up the middle, so he rolls right. Looking, throws back across his body, incomplete. Was looking for Larson, for Dupre rather, and Dupre was unavailable to him, so incomplete. And it will turn it over on downs, I believe. But this is a kind of place maybe East Lyme wants to play the field position game. They're sending Bruno in to kick. We've seen more teams go for it at this point of the field.
Remember, week 1, the first series for New London, they went for it, you know?
Around midfield and inside of 3 yards, it feels like everyone goes for it. But I think East Lyme likes their defense and wants to keep that field position in their favor. Bruno with a high punt. They need a bounce, and they get it inside the 20, inside the 15. Good choice. East Lyme pins NFA all the way back to the 11-yard line. That was a wise decision from the Vikings. And we're 10 minutes and 26 seconds away from halftime. I will remind everybody that at halftime, you want to watch the grade 8. Yeah, you want to watch the features on NFA and East Lyme, but you want to get back for the best segment in all of high school halftime sports.
Yummy.
3 pounds of pasta. All I'm going to say is that I've already dropped Easter eggs for what's coming up at halftime on 3 pounds of pasta. First down, handoff. Wildcats gain of perhaps 3. Hard running interior by Jameer Quinn Haskins.
Quinn Haskins on the carry.
Gain of 5, and I felt like that on that play, Haskins ran for 1.5 yards and got pushed even farther.
Down at the 16-yard line, gain of 5, 2nd and 5.
2nd and 5. Handoff again. Haskins this time hit before he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe falls forward for a half yard. 3rd and 3.
So these Wildcat offensive line is now doing the job. They're just driving the ball and they're staying on top of their blocks. This is the kind of attitude you want to have with this offense, putting them in a good 3rd and short situation, which will be positive for the Wildcats to try to get a first down.
3rd and 2, and you're not in a place to go for it if you don't get it. So unlike this down and distance 30 yards forward, this is your best play to get 3 yards. This is not time to hit a home run, right? So here's their best 3-yard play. Driscoll in the flat has a completion, and right at the sticks falling forward for the first down is Evan Gigliotti. So there's your best 3-yard play. You got 3.5, right? A flat pass to your tight end.
Got to give it to him. A simple play. Pitch and catch is a good thing.
Well, that's what, that was not the down and distance for home runs, right? So this is what is my best play to get me 3.5 yards? First down, NFA with a first down, moving the chains. Ball marked at the 35. Driscoll going to throw on first down. Deep ball. Up for Cleary, over his head at midfield, incomplete.
Intended for Ryan Cleary.
Well defended. Out there was Dupre. 2nd down and 10.
I like the way East Lyme has been doing their thing right now. They're keeping everybody in front. They don't want to, get that big play exploited on them. But again, they'll get some good pressure with just 4 men coming off the ball.
Feels like the first quarter was very uneven, very disjointed with all the penalties. And second quarter seems to be going a little bit more smoothly. Driscoll, 2nd down, screen pass to the outside, breaks 1 tackle, head down and heading towards the sticks. Barros with a nice job that time,
Number 8,
kind of
Killian Menor.
staying within himself, doing what he can do, and they're going to mark him as getting 10, so the chains will move. 1st down, NFA.
This is good that NFA could run this. They're good at the quick screens. They're good at those quick pitch plays that they can do. Stick with what they got and keep on working down the field with what East Lyme's given to you. You'll be okay.
3 receivers to the right. Driscoll rolls right, looking, pressured, throws it, and incomplete. It was in the vicinity of Croxton, but that was really Driscoll throwing it away. There was nothing there. Well defended from East Lyme.
Yeah, East Lyme's covering all 3 levels of that play. That was really good. Just waiting for that moment. It's going to be something special popping up here, Casey. It's going to either come from special teams, which I think I got my money on that. But, a pick, something like that can create momentum. One of these teams have to, rise up and show us that.
I got this as a 3-2 final.
Yeah, could be.
No.
I remember back in the day, Waters, it was like a 2-point game, right?
Field goal, 2-0, sure. 2nd and 10. Twin backs, motion man Cleary. Handoff, and nothing doing. Well defended again from East Lyme. It's going to bring up 3rd and long for the Wildcats.
Yeah, that big man, number 83, I like him. Jack Hayes, he's just taking all these blocks and just keeping it clogged in there, allowing that defense on the interior to make that play. It's good edge plays from both teams.
3rd and 10 and a half. So after a couple of first downs, NFA find themselves with a 3rd and long. Right back to where we've been playing the majority of this game, in between the 40s, like a soccer match. Driscoll to throw. Plenty of time. Zips it over the middle. Complete to Barros. Barros, speed to the outside. 6-0 Wildcats.
What a play.
Aaron Driscoll to Joel Barros on the pattern, but there's a flag on the field.
Oh, pass me the Pepto-Bismol, brother. It's going to be one of those again. What a great energy on that play. Let's see what we got.
The officials pointing. No celebration yet from either team. NFA, though, looks like they're walking back.
Oh.
It is. Nullifies the touchdown. So we've seen 2 fabulous plays from each team, and both go the way of the penalties.
That's a Nachita moment right there. What a great play.
Barros, that's right, the high jumper. So that is a unfortunate penalty. That was a well-designed play, and when he threw that ball up, I thought he was throwing it to the underneath route, and I thought he had overthrown it. Barros can fly.
He can. That was good speed.
So it will be a 1st down for NFA. Just negates the touchdown. Ball now in East Lyme territory. Handoff, good hole. Bouncing it outside, breaking tackles and rumbling forward for a 1st down, Xavier Sebastian. And that'll move the chain. So NFA starting to feel a little bit of comfort in the offense, throwing the ball, running the ball, and that's 4 first downs now they've had on this drive.
This is the kind of momentum that we wanted to see the NFA hold now. If they can continue to do this and play mistake-free, definitely could see some points before the half.
Don't forget, they were on their own 15-yard line after we said it was a great punt choice by East Lyme. Pinned NFA back at their own 15, but 4 straight first downs. Haskins in motion. He gets the little screen. Beautifully blocked to the outside. First down, broken tackle, inside the 10. It'll be first and goal Wildcats. They are knocking on the door.
That's a great play by the Wildcats. They found a kink on the defense right now. The backer that's responsible for that back flare is playing inside, so there's the leverage mismatch. Quick toss to him and letting him go out there to make a play with those two receivers blocking. Keep it going.
First and goal. Ball inside the 10-yard line. Driscoll looking to get the Wildcats into the end zone. Slant route. In stride. Cleary. Touchdown, Wildcats. Aaron Driscoll to Ryan Cleary. No flags. 6-0 with 6:09 remaining in the half.
What a great drive by the Wildcats there. You're right. At their own 15 case, hey, they kept it coming.
85-yard drive that saw them overcome a 3rd and 10 and a negated touchdown to go up 6-0. Now Barros, who had the negated touchdown, is in to kick the extra point from the hold of Driscoll. It is up. It is through. It is true. 7-0. NFA will be back with the East Lyme possession. Let's take a look at how the Wildcats got on the board.
It's that RPO system with that fake run, causing the linebacker to go in, and then boom, the slant. Nobody there. Quick throw. Good points.
Communities that are no longer covered by local newspapers become news deserts that lack journalists providing government oversight and access to quality information. The Day is committed to providing comprehensive news coverage in every town in southeastern Connecticut, but we've had to scale back coverage in some towns, including Ledyard and North Stonington, due to market forces affecting local news companies around the country. We need the continued support of the communities we serve to help fund additional staffing that enables us to provide the kind of coverage our readers expect in every town in the region. If you'd like to support the Day's News Desert Fund, please visit givebutter.com/theday.
Pooch short kick comes down. East Lyme will cross the 35-yard line and have the ball at the 36-yard line. So good field position. Again, the game has been played ultimately between the 30-yard lines.
Yep.
NFA, talk a little bit about what you saw on that 85-yard drive to get the Wildcats in the end zone.
Well, they had some plays they knew they could execute against the defense. They dialed in. It's just getting the timing on that last play. Then they had a great play they could score, but it was called back. That's the discipline of coming back and finding the way to finish through a mistake like that, which made them have 6 points on the board, actually 7.
It seems like recognizing what the defense was doing, you said, it's one thing to make the execution of the play, but it was only after diagnosing something they saw on the defense.
Exactly.
Garrow on first down for East Lyme. The Vikings looking to answer with 6 minutes remaining in the half. Flag on the play, and that looks like an illegal shift if I've ever seen one. And it is an illegal shift against East Lyme.
You are on fire with these calls tonight, brother.
That one wasn't hard. That's like the play when it's a toss left, and the wide receiver takes the opposing defensive back and tackles him to the ground. And you go, I know where that hold is.
I like the one in the 49ers game where both tight ends go in motion and they look at each other like, what?
Yeah, that's a flag. Speaking of missed, however, there was a face mask last night where Sam Darnold's head got turned around like the pumpkin head. And I'm like, no call on that. I'm like, do you think anyone would intentionally try to put their head in that position?
Mm-mm.
1st and 15 after the 5-yard illegal shift penalty. Vikings look like they're going to run the same play, and they do. Hole was there and back almost to the original line of scrimmage.
46, Alexander Bazzelli on the carry.
Run that time from Alexander Bazzelli, back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I got to give credit to East Lyme. I mean, they're a very young team, and they're facing a bigger size team. And for them to execute, it's just to be consistent with it.
2nd and 10. Garrow fakes the handoff to Bazzelli. Over the middle, has a man, complete. Brown, first down, crosses midfield. That's a route that I love. That's your RPO route right
the
there.
RPO, yeah.
That was set up, and that was a beautifully executed play from the Vikings.
I'm happy that the coaches were seeing that these guys were 6-man in the box. Those backers are really not playing that pass. So to throw a quick slant is showing, give us that respect. We're going to run the rock, but we get you guys back. We're going to make a play of a pass as well. So good job by the Vikings.
East Lyme into NFA territory, looking to answer their biggest play of the game that was not called back, and it'll bring up first down. Garrow to throw, out pattern, has a man, Brown. It's complete again near the first down sticks, but there's a flag in the area that is generally reserved for holding, but I don't know. I think this one might be against NFA. We'll see what the official says. No, I was right the first time.
You were.
I mean, that's got to be a hold, but I always like to look at the body language of the teams.
Yeah.
That sometimes can tell.
Should have logged on to gutinstinct.com and get that answer, brother. It was the first one. You felt it. Go with it, you know?
I did.
See, that's how close East Lyme is. I mean, if they could just sit back and execute these common things of, hey, good discipline, good technique, finish the playoff right between the whistle, you could have some positive advantages of it. But it seems like their youthfulness is showing in this. They're still learning to grow.
First and 20-plus, ball back onto the East Lyme side of things. Garrow fakes the handoff, rolls right in the flat, and it's dropped. Well-designed play. Carmine Bruno had it, dropped it. It'll bring up second down. I loved back when we were in high school, at the pro level versus the high school. At the high school level, it was, Coach, we got a hold on your offense.
Yeah.
When you went up to college, it would be holding, offense.
Yeah.
When you go to the pro level, it was holding, offense, number 78, that guy right there, see him right there, let's out him in front of everybody.
That's right.
Now, they announced the number in college, and in the pros, the official just yelled over, it was 75 that did it. I'm like, Garrow to throw, hitch and go, looking for the home run, has Brown, just overthrown. I think he lost it in the lights. He turned his head, he couldn't find it. That play was there, and it'll be a disappointment for East Lyme because Brown was open.
Man, that was intense. Could have caught that pass. That would have been great for the Vikings. But again, it's route running and pass timing. It's just what's missing right now.
So Garrow on 3rd and long. Pressured. That looks like a screen. And what a nice play. NFA recognized it. Gigliotti saw it, knocked it down. And that was the only thing keeping that from being a big gain.
That's a tall young man there. I love what he did. When he was seeing the pass rush, he saw the quarterback give you this unwanted. What is he doing? He settled his feet down, and as soon as the ball was thrown, hands up in the air. Great job by that defensive lineman right there.
So Bruno will come in and punt it away. Pressure. Line drive punt. Takes a East Lyme bounce and goes out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. So with 4:14 remaining, NFA will take over with its next possession. Bacon Academy leads 10-9 at halftime at Montville High School.
Cover 26 yards, no return, 1st and 10, NFA.
So NFA will have it 1st and 10. Fresh off of their 85-yard touchdown drive as they lead 7-0. I think they would very much like to have another score, knowing East Lyme will have the first possession of the second half. I know they would love to get another chance at this. Screen, incomplete, and a big hit on the back. That was a forward pass, even though it was not.
Penalty flag on the play.
A penalty flag on the play as well.
Injury timeout.
See what the officials sort out.
I'm going to give it a good guess. I think that might be an illegal shift. It looked like maybe 2 players. When the guy was in motion, the other one might have taken a hitch step. Let's see, Case, if I got that fire like you got, brother.
So we had an injured player, but all is good.
Amen. He ran off the field. Here we go. Ha ha!
You are the man. That's
Thank
going to
you,
be
bro.
declined. And that'll bring up second down.
I'll tell you, this Padawan's feeling good tonight. Got the force.
So second down and 10.
for NFA from the 32.
NFA from the 32-yard line. 7-0 lead with 4:09 remaining here in the half. So Driscoll. Twin receivers to his right. Motion man is Cleary across the formation. Driscoll looks at Cleary. Plenty of time. Keeps it himself. Heads to the outside. Gets a nice block. Stays on his feet. And will get up close to the first down. He might have enough for it. Aaron Driscoll, not normally, known for his running. That was savvy. Well done.
Yeah, he kept his composure. He made all his reads. He said nobody's going. But then when he found the right side was wide open to run, he took off. That was a great choice.
So third down and less than a yard.
Kids are having fun out there. Just half of them don't know what's going on. They're like just looking at each other, but then they're playing with that kind of vibrance. I love that energy.
They just got to go, hey, listen, you're the bottle cap.
That's right.
You're under the 40-yard line. You turn around.
I used to always be the Hot Wheel truck because I had to block.
Third and less than a yard. Hard count. Driscoll. Handoff. Cleary breaks a tackle. Gets a block. And he gone!
Oh!
Ryan Cleary to the end zone. No flags. Touchdown, Wildcats.
That is a play ocho, brother. I can't believe that spin technique he did. Unbelievable. Wow, that's a great. We got to see an instant replay on that one, Case.
Big play. Ryan Cleary puts the Wildcats on top 13-0. And that's kind of a punch across the jaw of East Lyme. Because their defense had been defending the run so well, and on that third and short play, they just got themselves caught. Individual effort from Cleary.
Yeah.
And Barros will be in to kick the extra point, try to make it 14-0.
Wow.
Kick is up. It is through, and it is true. 14-0. Let's take a look at how Ryan Cleary was able to make this thing a two-score game.
Look at how he cuts inside, and when he sees that back, he spins to the outside. The edge player should have stayed where he was at. He went inside, and there was all sailings from right there, full speed, right into the end zone.
Clayhar with a beautiful block out on the edge, just enough to get the cornerback flat-footed so that Cleary could run by him. Sometimes you don't have to hold the block as much as you just need to stop the momentum. When a guy's running full speed, all you got to do is make the other guy not be able to run full speed.
Exactly.
So
and just seal the block like they did right there. It was a good job by the line.
14-0 NFA. Now, plenty of time. 3:45 remaining in the half. And East Lyme getting the ball back in the second half. So plenty of time for them to try to get something on the board. We know that Bruno is a good field goal kicker as well for the Vikings. So there's, room for them to do something here on the Pooch short high kick. Bounces on the ground. It's in no man's land. Picked up. Not much there for Page. Flags come down as he crosses the 20. Give Page credit. He did a lot.
He did.
To get a little. But there's a flag on the play, and that looks like it's going to be a block probably against East Lyme.
That was an athletic move, boy. He's got some great skills. Way to read off those little blocks there and take off. But yep, it's a penalty that we've been seeing all night, brother.
Penalty is against East Lyme, and that's a tough one because that's going to pin them back deep.
Yeah. With
3:38 remaining. So I've got my sister-in-law at the Bacon Academy Montville game. I've got a good friend at the Bacon Academy Montville game. I've got spies at the Bacon Academy Montville game. I'm missing my Bacon Academy game to be here with you all tonight. Of course, my son AJ, a two-way player at Bacon Academy, and then so I'm interested. Well, each of them individually thinks they're helping me out by sending me texts.
Yeah, right.
Except when all three of them send me texts at the same time, my phone's blowing up.
It
is. I'm like, what happened? What happened? And they're all like, it's halftime.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I can breathe.
Guys, if you could see it, it's like the bat phone ringing every 10 seconds.
First down, Garrow stands in shadow of his own goal line. Hands off to Sister. And Sister runs with flair like he don't care. And on dare, he gets 5-6 yards.
You know, for a young team, I can see there's a lot of potential in the East Lyme program. These coaches just got to keep on preaching that, keep on battling through. This is going to kick in some way, somehow. If we can get a score here, this just changes the momentum of the game because you know you're going to get that ball back in the second half. So I hope they keep that rolling.
We're going to talk about both of these teams' upcoming schedule and why this game becomes uber important for each of them. We'll talk about that when we have some time. A little bit of movement, no call. So Sestair with the run, and he'll have a first down, and the chains will move. So let's say you're East Lyme, you're down 14-0. You got one win. NFA is looking like a good team. Next week, they're playing Brookfield, one of the best teams in the state of Connecticut.
Yes, they are.
But then they got Montville and Bacon. Two games that they have to think are winnable games before they head into their Thanksgiving Day matchup against rival Waterford. So they're looking right now. They're looking at winnable games to finish the season. 3 winnable games to end the year.
Yeah.
All right. On the first down play here, East Lyme, Garrow to throw. Out in the flat to the sideline, it goes to Sestair, gain of 4. If you're NFA, you got Woodstock. Then you got Killingly, Waterford, and New London. Again, outside of Killingly, all winnable games. Pass was incomplete. All winnable games. But you're looking at Killingly in that mix, just like East Lyme's looking at Brookfield in that mix, right? So this game becomes so important because there's winnable games down the stretch for each team, but they also know that they've got a state powerhouse coming up too. So this one becomes even more important. Second down and 10, Garrow to throw. Page gets it on the screen, gets a block from his receiver, cuts it back inside, and a lot of work for a 3-yard gain.
Yeah, this defense is flying around right now, feeling confident the way they've been playing tonight.
Quinn Haskins off the pile. There were about 4 Wildcats in on the tackle. Page ran about 17, 18 yards for a gain of 3 yards. 3rd and 7.
Like a timeout's being
Timeout's going to be called with 2:16 remaining. So we'll take a quick timeout and come back to finish up this first half. 14-0 Wildcats. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com. Last year, Waterford senior number 4 on the grade 8, the Olympico kick. I'm here with Cam Dickinson. I don't think she can pull it off. It looks way too hard. I think it was a fluke. Get it done.
I got it.
That was just too easy, and that is a grade 8 play. Send in your best plays and see if you can beat that and make this year's grade 8 Olympico style. Cheerleaders trying to keep the Vikings in it here, down 14-0. 3rd and 6. Garrow will operate from the shotgun. Garrow to throw. Has time. Deep ball. Looking for his home run threat. Brown has him at the 40. First down and more. Crosses the 30-yard line. Jaden Brown, the speedster. They had it earlier and overthrew it. That time they connected.
There's the code that was cracked right there. That 1-to-1 matchup on the outside with the trip formation on the other side. That safety was just favoring the trips. 1-to-1 matchup. Great play by that young man. Looks like the defensive back is limping out right now, so that's another opportunity for East Lyme to take advantage of.
All of a sudden, East Lyme with life. They have got plenty of time with 2 minutes remaining. They're down at the 30-yard line, and they get the ball in the second half. So a lot of opportunity right now, a lot of possibility for the Vikings. Garrow's going to throw. Pressure. And it's intercepted.
Whoa!
Intercepted on the outside. Crossing the 50. Crossing the 40. Cutting inside. Garrow finally brings him down.
Oh, man.
Big interception. Nyrell Ross stepped in like a boss and headed down the sideline for the Wildcats.
It was a tough throw for the quarterback, a long-distance throw that sometimes you have to really put it there right on the button, and it just floated there. He read it, picked it off, and he was off to the races there.
And now, because momentum is a funny thing, now NFA, all of a sudden they were on their heels, looking like they might be, the lead might get cut into. East Lyme's getting the ball. Now NFA with 1:45 has a chance to go up 3 scores and put maybe a little gut punch to East Lyme before halftime.
That's right.
Driscoll, handoff. Decent hole, decent gain. Magnus King got 6.
What a momentum buster on a play when you have a team that's just a beautiful pass play, and then after that you get a pick 6. It's just so hard for the Vikings trying to overcome some stuff like this.
2nd down, Driscoll the throw, zips it in the flat, complete. Clayhar has it. He'll be short of the 1st down, however, so the clock will run. 3rd and 2, minute and change remaining here in the half. And timeout, NFA. So with 1:05 remaining on a big 3rd and 2, ball inside the 20 at the 19, NFA will take a timeout. And we'll keep it here and talk a little bit about what we mentioned with the upcoming schedule for both teams. So, I mean, Brookfield, you're looking at Brookfield. So you're NFA, I mean, you're East Lyme. Right now, you're down 14-0.
Yeah.
So let's just play it out and say, all right, you're East Lyme and you lose this game. You're 1-5.
Right.
And you're looking at Brookfield, state power.
Yeah,
you're 1-6. And 1-6, even when you go into 3 winnable games, you feel beat up off of NFA and Brookfield, right?
Yeah.
However, you're East Lyme. You win. You go to 2-4. You go, you know what? That's okay. Even if we lose to Brookfield at 2-5, we have 3 winnable games. We can go back 500. Flip it, you're NFA, you're 1-4. Right? You win this game, you're 2-4. And you go, wait a minute, we got Woodstock. We can beat them. Yep. Even with that Killingly game, we can get 5 wins on this schedule.
Right.
You lose this game and you go, oh man, we still got to play Killingly, we still got to play Water. I mean, psychologically, the difference between 1-5 and 2-4 is more than just a game.
Totally true.
King has the 1st down, crosses the 15-yard line. Clock will run once they reset the chains, but it'll be 1st down, Wildcats, just under a minute remaining in the half.
1st down, Wildcats. Tackled by Alex Maxim.
Driscoll, clock running from the shotgun. Gonna throw. Pressure up the middle. He zips it into the corner of the end zone, has a man. Feet in, out of bounds.
Oh!
They said Cleary was juggling it. Tippy toe, but I think they said juggles and the foot didn't get down and it's incomplete.
That's a great route. You know, what could destroy cover 2 defenses or, you know, those 2 highs or even 1 high, that corner route, because if that corner's biting that underpass or, you know, the receiver, it's wide open. Man, just so close. You see how he hits that corner route? That safety stayed in there, wide open. Whoa. Hey, brother, I don't know. That was close.
Official was right there.
Yeah.
Instead, it's 2nd down. Driscoll, this time over the middle, has him again. Touchdown, Wildcats. Barros broke it to the post, and Driscoll threw him a dime.
Wow, that was a great route right there.
And there's what we talked about.
Yep.
East Lyme was driving, looking to get on the board, cut the lead in half, and instead they're down 20-0 heading into the half.
Yeah, a little confusion with the D-backs right there when they were seeing those breaks on the routes, and yeah, it was kind of tough for them to pick that up. But again, the momentum changer really is now in favor for the Wildcats.
Hold, kick is up and through and true, and 21-0. Wildcats on top. Let's look at the great route here. Barros and the dime thrown by Driscoll.
It's kind of a dig route, they call that in the collegiate level. You just run a deep in route, causing those backers to play under. They didn't drop back too deep, and there it was, wide open. A good throw for the quarterback.
36 seconds remaining here in the 1st half. NFA on top 21-0. And after the game started a little bit uneven with both teams really struggling, NFA has found some gaps in the defense of East Lyme, shown some success throwing the football, and East Lyme stunned, looking a little bit like they got caught off guard there, 21-0.
Page, Brown, and Dupre back deep for the Vikings.
So NFA will kick it off here, 36 seconds remaining. It's a squib kick taken by the up man. Angelico crosses the 40-yard line where the Vikings will have it with 32 seconds remaining. Of course, when we head to halftime, you're going to want to stay tuned. Watch this week's Grade 8. Find out which was the most difficult soccer play versus the most difficult football play. You like the kids? Maybe a youth football play. Stay tuned for the Grade 8. Also features on East Lyme, features on NFA, And then you want to come back for a delicious piling 3 pounds of pasta at halftime. It's so good that I'm bringing Peter Wappy in for all 3 pounds.
Woo, that's all good.
Garrow, wide toss. Sestaire, big hole. 9 yards, 8 yards, 8.5 yards. Clock running, though, with 22 seconds remaining. East Lyme's got a big leg in Bruno. I'm a little surprised they didn't call a timeout and try to, get him into range at least. Now I think they're looking like they're just going to let it run out and get maybe one playoff. Home run to Brown maybe, but
that'd be nice.
That's all you got time for here. 5 seconds remaining. Over the middle, he was looking for Brown, and that's going to get us to the end of the half. So 21-0 Wildcats on top. We want to stay tuned. After we come back from break, you're going to have the grade 8, you're going to have features, and then 3 pounds of pasta. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
So this is my first year with Jacob. He's a sophomore, phenomenal athlete. He's a 3-sport athlete.
I wrestle and I play baseball. Especially wrestling really helps with football because taking people down and tackling, similar, it helps. And baseball, I feel like you get explosion.
Someone that in the ideal perfect world, we would have been able to kind of groom into the junior varsity level a little bit because Jacob is who he is. He's starting on both sides of the offensive and defensive line for us, and he's the only lineman right now that we have that is starting on both sides of the ball.
Was it surprising to come in as a sophomore or in that starting role?
It kind of was, but I knew I was working hard all year, and I was really prepared for this.
It's just his work ethic. He works as hard or harder than anybody that we have on the team, which again, for being a really, really young team, it's exciting. So having someone with the youth that we know that's going to be a part of this program for a couple of years is really exciting.
Where does that work ethic come from?
It's always been wrestling because my coach always used to push me and our team. Wrestling really just pushed my stamina really high, so I've always been really conditioned.
For a sophomore to do that, where traditionally he's going to be undersized. Everybody he lines up again, either at the guard position, we played him at defensive end. Just from an age standpoint, he has a lot of room to grow, and that's why, the next year in the offseason and stuff, it's going to be really exciting with him. But his growth as a football player, it's just in the infancy stages. He has so much room to grow physically. Does that make him our left tackle in 2 years? Does that make him possibly even a starting middle linebacker in 2 years? I think the excitement is his football IQ is jumping from where he went into the offseason to where he is now and how he sees the game and what we're able to do with him. It's just, sky's the limit.
You could come in as a new coach to somewhere and you could say all the right things and you can have the best program of all time, you can have the best X's and O's of all time, but really none of it matters if the players don't buy in.
Jesse, he's there 100% of the time, no matter what. He's making sure everyone's on task, he's making sure no one's goofing off, and he's just very strict on you, but he's a loving captain.
Tegan, he's definitely a very hype guy, energy. He just does everything, no matter what. Anything you ask him to do, he's out there giving 100%.
You can't teach it, you can't describe it, right? The it factor is really important when you choose captains, and they have it, okay? They have when these guys walk into a room, people know they're in the room. But they also are committed, they're also vocal, they're also they also live what we're trying to do here and teach here. They work hard in the weight room. They're here at 6 in the morning. They're doing the little things right that we're trying to now spread program wide. So great captains are extensions of the coaching staff, and they certainly live up to that.
I just try to keep all the players and teammates motivated to come to practice every day and to be better versions of themselves. As captains, we all strive to make sure that the reps in practice are good, as well as all the product off the field. So grades, attendance, behavior, just really trying to keep the team as one big group of family.
We're trying to build a championship culture here at NFA. I grew up about 35 minutes down the road in Westerly, and I always held this place in awe and held a lot of respect for it. And, some of the beauty of football is the simplicity of it. The teams with the best cultures are the teams who win.
We're trying to change the culture, championship culture, and I think we're getting there. We're having a positive change, and I see a lot of the guys changing their whole perspective.
We really try to make sure that everybody knows that it's not immediate, and being able to work through those struggles, I think it inevitably will make us a lot stronger as a team and a program. I'm hoping I can leave behind a group of kids that want to work and a culture that everybody wants to be a part of on campus. You know, if you see a group of football players, you want to be involved with them and you want to have that bond that they have.
Good work today.
To bring back that culture and that unity it'd be very important to me.
Cats on 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah!
It's time for Game Day's Grade 8 Plays of the Week. At number 8, Fitch Volleyballs, Leilani McCoy against Charahoe. They test her at the net once, denied. Test her against, don't test McCoy. At number 7, Waterford Volleyball's Lucy Walker, a model of persistence. 1 try, 2 tries, 3 tries. Well, you know what they say. 4th time's a charm, so let's feed Lucy one more time, and there's the winner. At number 6, Bacon Academy quarterback Riddick Burrows throws the screen out to Lucian Dean. Nice block from Skip Coogan. Daniel Zarita and the Dean machine, he gone. Touchdown Bobcats as Dean goes 83 yards. At number 5, Plainfield Micros, Christopher Moreau. Go Moreau. Takes the pitch, heads to the outside, and 285 feet later, that's 95 yards for you and me. Moreau shows the wheels and the strength and pulls away all the way to the end zone as the Micros chase Moreau for 6. Now let's head to the progressive difficulty soccer section of the Grade 8. At number 4, Ledyard's Maggie Dykes, 36 yards out with the rainbow goal against Killingly. At number 3, East Lyme's Ryan Wargo, a free kick, almost no angle from the corner, but this is why the Vikings are undefeated and defending state champs as Wargo curls it into the goal. How about Ledyard's Paolo Templeton in the ALS Cup final versus Bacon in PKs? First, let's stop one. Can you do it again, Paolo? Can you do it again? Let's see. Save Templeton. How can he finish? Wait, you're stepping out of the goal, Paolo? You're not going to come up with the game winner, are you? Templeton with the winner for Ledyard. But at number 1, Lee Birchman, 43 yards out, and Leah says, well, I'm going to hit a bomb. Look at this kick, 43 yards out, perfect precision, the Birchman bomb, goal, and that's your number 1 play of the week. Send us your best plays, and maybe you can make next week's Grade 8.
It's almost here, baby.
It's that time.
Time to work. It's time to shine.
Can you feel it? We got this.
Here we go. Be ready.
Yeah! Are you ready?
Are you ready? Let's go! Oh yeah! It's game day! It's game day!
It's game day! 1, 2, 3, it's game day!
It's game day!
He's a hard-working kid. I mean, at home, they own one of the largest farms, beef farms and everything in Connecticut, and he's working all the time.
I got 1,100 head dairy farm. We have 1,100 cows, and we try to manage that in the seasons that I'm not playing football or wrestling.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
My dad helps me a lot during in and out of football, like before school. It's always, you got to go feed him. It's kind of always been a responsibility in my life.
I know him since he was a freshman here, and he came with the Wheeler bunch, and I couldn't expect a kid to work any harder.
When we kind of made the co-op, it was weird to me that, like, I never saw these kids, I never knew them. We have a tight bond. It's kind of like we'll walk into the school, like if we're playing another sport, like our track team, they run with Griswold, so whenever we see each other, it's always, hey, how's it going? It's always friendly.
You ever been like in the stands for a Wheeler Griswold basketball game?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. It's kind of weird. They always ask me who I'm rooting for before the games, and I always tell them whoever's winning. I mean, that's as easy as it is. So.
Well, he started last year, and he's the captain this year, but he was what I used to call the swing man. He played almost every position in case somebody went down on the offensive line, and I used him on some defense, so he's been a good ball player. I'll tell you what, I'm here, I've been doing this for about, little guys all the way up since 1974. And it gets to the point, sooner or later you say, well, how much you gonna give? I'm here for guys like Ben. It's contagious. That's the word I want to use. It's contagious. When Ben starts going on, it just gets contagious. He's that kind of guy. He wants to motivate. I mean, last year we were getting ready for the States, and of course he had a knee problem, and so he was out there and he was like a cheerleader, and he had the scrub defense beating up on our offense, and it was quite the go at it. And he was the main cause. Coaches really don't have their favorites, but he's one of the favorites. That's the best way I can tell you that.
We're back at halftime, and it's time for everybody's favorite halftime feature, 3 pounds of pasta. Tonight is the opening night of the World Series. The World Series is being played by the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees. West Coast versus East Coast. So I ask you, better rap, West Coast or East Coast?
Oh, well, you know, with things going on right now, I got to give the edge to the West Coast with the rap game as they're still surviving. But East Coast always has a flavor of me because I was where it was rooted in the Bronx, so I'm going to stay hardcore East Coast right now.
Listen, the West Coast has some great rappers in their time, right? You're talking Tupac, who was an East Coast guy. Yep. NWA with all of those guys, Cube and Dre. You got Snoop, you know, modern guys like Kendrick Lamar, Nipsey Hussle, may he rest in peace. All of those. But East Coast, I mean, come on.
We got to load it.
Come on, we go into the origins. We're talking about Run DMC, LL Cool J, Eric B. and Rakim, Tribe Called Quest. Goodness. We haven't even dropped anything like Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, Biggie. Come on, Nas.
All day. Nas, yeah.
Peter Wappy, would you like to weigh in on the West Coast, East Coast dilemma?
Is this just an LA, New York conversation, or can I add Atlanta in there?
Ooh, you want to try to drop some Southern rap on us? We'll count them as a separate thing. Just West Coast and East Coast.
Okay, so if Atlanta and Outkast are not part of East Coast,
they are not. Neither are the Ghetto Boys in Houston.
All right, then I'm gonna go West Coast just because that my knowledge of hip hop and rap is current as of about 1994. So I'm gonna go West Coast.
All right, controversial, but I accept your. So let's move over to. I woke up at 2:00 in the morning. There was old Seinfeld's on, and the great episode when Kenny Banya wanted to go out with Jerry, but all he had was soup, and Jerry was arguing that soup is a meal. Kenny was arguing that soup is not a meal. And I like to think that depends on the kind of soup. So, 3 top soups for pasta for Peter.
My number 1 top soup is called soupon. It's like traditional heavy carb, noodles, chicken. It's a broth. It's a Spanish. Then the next day it gets a little thicker, like more of like a creamier, and it just gets better. So supong, everybody that knows that out there, supong, and you're like, that's the right one. Go ahead.
Okay. What about 2 and 3?
2 and 3. Well, I love clam chowder. Clam chowder's always been my number 2. And then, I go back to the original chicken, because to me that was my foundation when I was a kid. Anybody in the family in New London, when I had a cold, they always gave me a chicken noodle soup.
How is pasta fazool not on your list of 3?
Because, what's funny? I didn't know that, pasta fazool was a bean soup until later on, but since they cut it to pasta at that time, I didn't realize the original pasta was a bean soup. Therefore I kind of had to skip it.
Peter Wappy, what are your 3 go-to soups?
Now, do you guys think chili is a soup?
Chili is not a soup.
Check that. I don't care. Chili number 1.
Yeah! Give it to
Beef stew number 2.
Beef stew.
And I would have previously said chicken and stars out of a can, but a couple years ago on an assignment, on a video assignment, I got to try some homemade soup joumou, which was a traditional Haitian dish that a family made up in Norwich, and insisted that I tried some, and it was good.
All right, so to quote the great Lee Elsey, who is going around to every high school game in Connecticut tonight, he's just made it here from the Bacon-Montville game, chili is wrong. Chili, you guys left out your corn chowders, you left out your clam chowders,
True that.
You left out your beef barleys, your Italian wedding.
Yeah.
But here we go. I'm going to give you the opposite. I'm going to give you, aside from French onion, which is the most disgusting thing I could ever think of, give me a nice split pea and ham so that I can throw it to my dog.
Down south, we had the split pea and ham, and they really put a big ham hock in it. I didn't mind it. A cup.
Yeah, my dog likes when we have split pea and ham because she knows that her bowl is going to get a lot of soup in.
That's right.
All right, so tonight we're watching a game between the NFA Wildcats and the East Lyme Vikings. You're trapped on an island, and you can only watch the Goldie Hawn movie Wildcats or the first season of Vikings. What are you watching on your island?
Goldie Hawn all day. The Wildcats, that movie was an OG movie that brought back so much energy. And she was an amazing coach at that time. I love the energy. I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson in your backfield?
That's
Come on. Peter Wappy, you going to go Wildcats or you going the first season of Vikings?
I'm going to bring a book.
Reading is fun.
Reading is fun. Well, for me, Wildcats, while completely hilarious, probably would not be something we're allowed to. I think we get canceled if we watched Wildcats now.
Yeah, football. It was a song at the end. We had
football. That's right.
Yeah. And then French was the biggest. What is it? Was embezzler. He was making deals with everybody. Big French. Yeah.
Speaking of Nipsey Russell was the principal of the school.
Right. If y'all know it, and I know it out there, you know what I'm talking about, right?
If I could bring, and Dennis, was Bird the quarterback?
That's right.
Now I'm saying it. Launching the career. You can bring your book, Peter Wappy, but Wildcats launched the career of many a young athlete.
Young group.
And I would say that Vikings Valhalla might be the way to go, other than Vikings. But tonight here, those were your 3 pounds of pasta. Peter Wappy had it wrong all 3 times with West Coast rap, chili, and bringing a book. 0 for 3. This is why your NESCAC education does not belong here on 3 pounds of pasta.
I forgot about French onion. I'll slide that in at number 1.
There you go.
Okay, all right. I was going to send us away, but now I got to keep us here. Explain to me the allure of French onion soup.
I love everything about French onion. You get the spoonful. You get a big hunk of melted cheese that you need scissors to cut. So I have my soup scissors.
Okay.
Yo, soup scissors.
You got the toasty piece of bread that after 3 seconds is a soggy mass of mush.
Yeah.
See, now, if Jerry had only treated Kenny Bania to a French onion soup, then we would have been okay.
The bowl scared me.
You've got onions that are either too mushy to eat,
the dahlias,
or too raw to even chew.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the problem. I eat the cheese right off the top. I just grab it and eat it. Then the bread's gone, and all I got is a bowl of no one wants to breathe your breath for a couple
days. Put the cracker on top of the cheese, fold it, eat it, move on. That's it.
I don't want the soup scissors. I get a fork. I just go right into the cheese like this. I take it right out of the soup, and I give the soup to my dog. But she can't have the onions.
Every now and then, I'm out to eat, often with with my wife, and I just imagine like the things that I order to eat. I imagine eating them like on a first date with someone. I've got the French onion soup hanging down to my chest, or we get tacos and they're like spilling all over my hands.
Did you not have a lot of second dates?
I am so glad that we can just be ourselves and I don't have to worry about what I'm ordering, because I always order the messiest thing to eat.
So Thank you for the advice on that one. So you're telling me when I'm in my recliner like this, and I got a bowl of right here on my chest.
You're balancing it,
and I stand up and more falls to the floor. Yeah. Again, my dog. You wonder why my dog's overweight off of all my.
Oh really?
Well, those were your 3 pounds of pasta. West Coast versus East Coast wrap. What's your top 3 soups? And Wildcats versus Vikings here at East Lyme. Second half action ready to get underway. The Vikings caught a right cross to the chin right before the end of the first half. They trail 21-0. They're going to have to see if they can get something going. They have not been kind to themselves with penalties and turnovers, but they will have a chance of redemption starting the second half. Dupre comes up and grabs it on the fly. Well done. Crosses the 40, and that's where East Lyme will have it. 1st and 10 right at their own 40-yard line. We'll see what the adjustments made by Coach Klein and the Coach Klein.
Yeah, Coach Klein got to get involved right there and make sure he follows through with the high-quality offense he got right now. Good opportunity.
Yeah, I'd say right now East Lyme just has to keep on doing what they're doing. Keep that energy on these young kids. Let them execute. Score a touchdown. That could change the attitude of the mind game for them.
Garrow will operate out of the shotgun on first down. Lets his lineman know what's going on. Drops back. Twin receivers to his left. Bad snap. Handled well. Gives this a stare. Tries to get off right tackle. Shows a little bit of toughness. Breaks a tackle, but not much there. Similar to what we saw in the first half, the Wildcats doing a really nice job of tackling the initial tackle right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the defensive line right now, they're shifting a little bit, and they're really giving up the interior. They're leaving double-A gaps open, so I'm wondering why they can't, East Lyme can't run something inside as opposed to outside.
2nd and 7. Garrow taking time. Page, make sure he's on sides. Handoff again up the middle, and NFA. Ooh. What a tackle.
Wow.
Right off the rip, flying up. Terrence Brown, bad news Brown with the hit. Knocks him back 2 yards, 3rd and long for East Lyme.
That was a really good read from him. Once he saw that down block from the center and he saw that gap develop, he's going to fill the hole right in there, and he did so. Great job.
Out-of-town scoreboard, Bacon Academy with an 18-9 lead on Montville over at the Wolves' lair.
There you go.
We'll try to get that Ledyard-Wyndham final for you as well. Excuse me, that Wyndham was tied at halftime. Garrow, pressured, rolls out of the pocket, now throws across his body, has a man, lofted up, caught! It's complete.
And he's going!
Larson breaks a tackle, bumped out of bounds inside the 10. Wade Larson, big play, and the Vikings with a little bit of energy. They're in business inside the red zone, knocking on the door.
What a difference. We thought he was going to get wrapped up and tackled right there, but once he got his feet under him, he spun around and just took off. Great opportunity right now for East Lyme.
1st and goal. Ball's going to be marked. Or are they going to mark it just inside the 10? Yes, it is. Ball's going to be marked, so it'll be 1st and goal Vikings. Big play to start this 3rd quarter. The officials, though, are saying timeout, NFA. NFA wants to regroup. We want to take a look at that great play that Larson made on his own. It was not so much first of all, give Garrow credit, eluding the pressure and keeping his eyes downfield. Found Larson on one of those nice little soft rainbow passes, but everyone thought he was going to get tackled and go out of bounds, and I think he said, I got something for you right here. Beautiful throw from Garrow. Right here, everyone thought he's down, right? But no, I think they'll try to go for a strip, cost them. Beautiful play.
Well, little football 101. When we're playing football, the first person automatically is the tackle guy. He's got to tackle. For him to go for the ball right there, that was kind of undisciplined right there. Second guy is the guy that tries to strip the ball. What a momentum changer here right now. Hopefully the Vikings right here can execute a play to get those points.
So it'll be 1st and goal. Ball just inside the 10-yard line. Garrow will operate out of the shotgun. Dupre is the back to the right. High snap. Dupre gets the carry. And because of the high snap, the timing was a little bit off. Jameer Quinn Haskins got in to make the tackle. And what could have been maybe a gain of 5 or 6 was halted after a gain of 1 or 2 because of the timing of the play.
Yeah, they need to get quick hitters. You can't develop these blocking schemes. No, NFA's defense is big and bold.
Garrow, second and goal. Fakes the handoff, throws over the middle, and it's intercepted. Sebastian with the interception in the end zone, and East Lyme once again knocks on the door, only to have it locked, shut, and slammed.
That's an inexperienced read right there. The defensive back was inside, and that receiver brought the guy in. It was the outside receiver that was wide open there on the corner route. Tough play right there for the Vikings as they were looking like they were going to score. That's heartbreaking.
Timeout. Officials timeout on the field as we have an injured player. So with a player down and a 21-0 Wildcat lead, we're going to take a quick timeout. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com. At the end of today's game, you'll have the Philomenas player of the game. Game Day is brought to you by Philomenas. It's always Game Day at Philomenas, southeastern Connecticut's go-to destination for events, fine food, and great atmosphere. Offering an all-new brunch menu, wing and drink specials, and live music, Philomenas provides the premier atmosphere for viewing all of your college and pro football. Stop in and see Mike or Sarah sit at the brand-new bar. 1st and 10 Wildcats. Driscoll from the shotgun. Handoff. Haskins. First down. Makes a couple of tacklers miss and gets it all the way out to the 40-yard line. So Jameer Quinn Haskins, patient running, speed, power, everything you're looking for in the back in a big game.
This is that Wildcat offense that we were expecting to see, that they can execute plays like this. And the offensive linemen right now are taking advantage of it.
Flag on the play. That looks where you might have a holdout on the edge against the wide. Again, Driscoll, the son of the great Norwich educator Jay Driscoll, who I'm sure is here someplace, pacing frenetically, which he would be doing even if his son wasn't playing, talking to someone, bothering someone, all the things that Jay Driscoll does well. 1st and 10. Driscoll will operate with running backs on either side. Now Cleary goes in motion to his right. Handoff to Haskins. Gets outside. Nice cut inside. Has a first down. Breaking tackles. Pushing forward towards midfield. Effort and energy. Persistence. Quinn Haskins showing it all.
That's the grind that I like to see from the Wildcat offense. Again, momentum is really focusing on now gaining those yardages, grounding and pounding with a patient running game. That's just effective right now. They got past the 50.
You know, players are resilient, but if you don't think that emotion comes into play here, East Lyme had the ball, knocking on the door with a chance to cut 14-0 to 7-0, getting the ball in the second half. They throw the interception. NFA scores right before the half.
Yeah.
East Lyme goes right down the field to start the second half, knocking on the door, throws an interception. And now you can see the energy back in favor of NFA. Nice throw. Driscoll looking for Cleary. Pass interference is going to be called on DiLoretto. DiLoretto just got tangled up with Cleary and didn't have a play on the ball.
He just had bad technique and got burned, and he actually just pretty much saved the play, because if he would have caught it, it would have been gone.
So unlike at higher levels, pass interference is not an automatic first down. However, since it was first down, it will be a first down because the yardage of the pass interference is enough for the first down.
You are
follow all
flowing
that?
tonight.
You follow all that?
That's like a three-pointer and say, got it. I don't know who says that, but
So it's a 10-yard penalty, the pass interference, or maybe it's a 15-yard penalty. It's a 15-yard penalty for pass interference. So if it was, say, 3rd and 30, pass interference does not get you a first down. It would get you 15 yards. It would be 3rd and 15.
Exactly.
But because it was 1st and 10, it's a gain of 15.
That's why I always pick C in the bubble thing.
Pick C?
Yeah, C or B always was like the highest.
I like to make designs of like a rose petal.
I did that one time, yeah.
I got a 1400 on my SATs making rose petals.
I did a coquille.
Whistle on the field before the snap. Procedure, false start against NFA. It'll back them up 5. It'll be 1st and 15, and they'll have it at their own 40.
I mean, if we take away these penalties, I mean, we would see probably be a better flowing game, you know, with the action that's on both sides. But it just seems like it just hesitates. It causes this whole thing to stagger a little bit. And again, these are the things that both these teams need to work on the second half of the season in order to get to at least a good winning season.
This is a big drive for the East Lyme defense because, like we talked about, down 4 scores, looking at Brookfield next week, it just becomes, emotionally it can become an awful lot.
Yeah.
Good snap. Driscoll rolls right, has time, throws, has a man. It's Cleary. Caught at the 20-yard line, knocked out of bounds inside the 20. NFA in the red zone again on a beautiful throw from Driscoll to Cleary.
Yeah, Driscoll's on fire right now. He's doing a great job. Love the levels of play that right now the receivers are running. Their routes are really balanced and giving the quarterback a choice to really make a good throw.
So it'll be 1st and 10, ball at the 14-yard line.
Gain of 27, first down, NFA.
There's that trips again.
Driscoll feeling it. Hands it off to Haskins. Nice job, tackled in the backfield. Harms got in there first. That's a great name for a defensive player.
It definitely is. He read that play really good. He went to underblock that. He passed the offensive lineman's blocking and got into the position where it's the mesh point, and he made a great tackle to finish it off. That was very athletic.
Jonathan Harms has a brother named Duno.
Really?
Yeah, Duno Harms.
That's what I'm talking about.
And there it is. 2nd and 12.
Swish.
Driscoll. Plenty of time. Looking. Has a man. End zone. Touchdown. Cleary, his favorite target. Ryan Cleary has been finding the gaps, and Aaron Driscoll has been throwing him dimes. 27-0 Wildcats.
Now, that young man right now is driving like an Audi Quattro, all wheels down, all full speed. Good job. Another good drive for the Wildcats here.
So in for the extra point, Barros. He is 3 for 3, which pretty much means I've given him the kiss of death here on the 4th one.
Here we go.
Snap down, kick is up. I love it when a plan comes together. 28-0. Wildcats on top of the Vikings. Let's watch Cleary get in space and Driscoll put it on the money.
That's a little shake route. You have 2 guys under, and then that one route to the outside. But he was still double teamed and still made a great catch. It was a good ball thrown.
28-0. NFA on top. 7:11 remaining here in the 3rd period. It has been a wild night across the league as we've reached the midpoint and teams are really starting to kind of feel that pressure. Wins become more and more precious here as you hit the midpoint. NFA will kick it off. A high spiraling kick. Bounces at the 15-yard line. Page gets it at the 20. And Page ran right into Clayhar at the 25. And East Lyme will have it 1st and 10. Ball will be marked up. They're going to give him the forward progress to the 30-yard line. Wyndham, 13-6 final in a tight one over Ledyard. Ledyard now has lost 2 in a row, having played undefeated Waterford and undefeated Wyndham. So, when Ledyard ran into the 2 teams that are undefeated, they've lost, however, much more competitive in this game versus Wyndham. Wyndham remains undefeated. They remain at the top of the Class SS rankings, and Ledyard will have absorbed loss number 2. Here, East Lyme with the possession, down 28-0. Handoff, off-right tackle. Dupre. Gain of maybe 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 as the clock ticks with 6.5 remaining here in the 3rd period. Bacon Academy, 25-9 over Montville, over at the home of the Wolves as the Bobcats look to get onto the board for the season here.
That's awesome.
High snap. Garrow's going to keep it himself. Broken play, gain of 3, slammed to the ground as NFA starting to pin their ears back a little bit and fly to the football. It'll be 3rd and short.
You said it right. They're flying to the ball right now, and they're taking those proper angles that you want to have with run fits, especially the way this East Lyme offense can explode if they don't tackle properly.
Third and short, 3rd and 4, ball at the 35-yard line. Garrow to throw. Has time. Now he steps up. The pocket collapses around him, and he'll be sacked. Had time initially. That pocket can collapse awfully quickly, and it certainly did. Sacked for a loss all the way back to the original line of scrimmage. Gigliotti was the first one to get there, and it's going to be 4th and 10, and Bruno will come in to punt it away for the Vikings.
Bruno back to punt.
The loss for Ledger drops them to 8th in Double S. Double S is loaded with ECC teams.
Yeah.
You can't spit without hitting an ECC team in Double S. High snap. Bruno with the punt. Taken at the 35-yard line. Clayhar crosses midfield. Clayhar crosses the 40 and finally down to the 38-yard line. Nice run and good field position once again for NFA. So Wyndham will remain your top team in Double S, but you've got Waterford and Ledyard and Wyndham, and I mean Double S has got all of our teams. I'm just talking about the ACC.
Where's Killeen at right now?
What's that?
Aren't Killeen Double S too?
And
they're loaded. Yeah.
Sheehan.
And
Sheehan, who a lot of people think is the final.
Yeah,
the game you guys had in week 3.
Yeah, it was a very good game.
First down, Driscoll rolling right, throws incomplete, just shy of the intended receiver, Croxton. Nice defense out there by McPherson, who got into the flat and got a hand up, maybe altered Driscoll's throw. There's a flag down as well.
Penalty flag on the play.
Holding against NFA. That'll back him up, and it'll remain first down. So with 4:52 remaining in the third, we've got finals with Ledyard and Wyndham, where we've got Bacon Academy heading down towards their first win of the season against Montville. We've got NFA with probably their most complete performance of the season, looking to go to 2-4. And of course, NFA will have Woodstock next week. Driscoll had Cleary on the slant. It hit him in the hands, and that's one Cleary would like back. He's sure-handed, and that's a surprise.
Again, that's been wide open all day. That RPO run play attached with that slant backside is something right now that's lethal for the Wildcats. It's very hard to defend right now. So Vikings are really just trying to balance out what they could stop.
2nd and 20. Ball just on the Viking side of the field at the 49-yard line. Motion across. Driscoll hands it off. Lercius back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be long. 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11. And we got an injured Viking on the field.
Down at the 39-yard line, timeout from injury.
Injured Viking popping right back up, so it doesn't look to be serious, and they're going to get him off the field. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Wildcats with the clock at 4:32 in the third.
One thing I'm liking here, Casey, is the offensive line, their energy, seeing them, they're running down the field, making their blocks, and then they're doing something that I admired, I think, is every offensive lineman we take pride in. You pick up your running back after the play. You pat him up, you let him know that you're really happy with him, what's going on, and that brings that energy on that offensive team right now. Those Hogs are working tonight. They're all geared in.
3rd and 11. Ball at the 40-yard line, the Wildcats. Driscoll from the shotgun. Quick throw. Cleary has it. Tries to break a tackle and can't. It'll be 4th down as he's about 4 yards shy of the first. They'll mark it at the 34-yard line, and we'll see what NFA does. Kind of no man's land, right? No reason to punt. Too long for a field goal, so I'd expect them to go for it.
Yeah, I would go for it as well. It's a great opportunity for them.
Unless you have the secret weapon.
I don't know. That RPO play right now is working.
Driscoll will have them go for it. He'll stand right on his own 40. On the East Lyme 40. Rolls left. Has time. Looking. Throws back across, and it's complete to Barros, and then knocked free Barros had it. It was jarred incomplete. He gives a tap to Angelico.
Yeah.
Angelico knocked it loose, and East Lyme holds on a beautiful play from the secondary as Silas Angelico hit Barros and jarred it. So the Vikings doing something positive here with 3:38 remaining in the third. They'll take over on downs, and the ball will be marked at their own 34-yard line. Of course, we mentioned at halftime that tonight is the first game of the World Series versus two teams that I'd rather never win again as long as they live.
That's mean, brother. That's mean.
This is a night where I just wish that both team buses would stall on the freeway and the game would never happen.
It's a classic.
But if I have to root against a massive head wound
Yeah.
or a quadruple amputation, which is what I'm rooting, I'll root for the massive head wound, which is the LA Dodgers.
You go.
I can't have the quadruple amputation.
Can't have the Yankees. No.
Garrow to throw, high, caught by Page. Ball's loose, and they're going to say he never had it incomplete.
I saw a great meme map of the country, color coded, like which states are rooting for which teams. The map was there, like 47 states were colored yellow, which the key said rooting for the U.S. to be struck by a comet.
Yes. So you have all of California rooting for L.A., except San Diego and San Francisco, who don't want. You have all of New York rooting for the Yankees, and all of Florida rooting for the Yankees, and every other state rooting for a lightning strike. Garrow, rolling right, I think he threw it. It bounced. They're going to call it a fumble. He recovered it.
That was unique.
Put a top on the circus, says Garrow. That was clearly him trying to throw the ball downfield.
He was trying to give description with the football in his hand. Go that way, and then it just bounced and came back. Lucky bounce. I mean, this field has been pretty good with the bounces tonight.
I heard that when most people saw what happened to the Tropicana field, and they saw the roof blow off the Trop during the hurricane, said that, even Mother Nature doesn't think Tampa should play there.
No. Doesn't Gina own him or something like that? He's a part owner, right?
Yeah, a lot of.
It's all connected, brother.
A lot of good that's doing. 3rd and 10, Garrow from his own 30-yard line. Tough snap, handled well. Now he's pressured, rolls right, gets rid of it to the NFA defensive backs coach. The NFA defensive backs coach made a nice play on the football, but it will be incomplete 4th down, and it looks like Jameer Quinn Haskins is cramping over on the sideline. They're going to attend to him.
A couple of guys have been cramping up since the second half's been gone.
So last week, when Bacon Academy played Griswold, they played on Saturday. And if you remember, it was like 77 degrees.
Yeah.
So these kids, and some of them play both ways. There was a lot. Second half, there were a lot of cramps because
tropical.
No matter how much you hydrate, it's hard to prepare for 77 degrees on a Saturday. When you're practicing after school, it's cooler, and right in the afternoon, shade and everything. These kids were coming off the sidelines just looking like it was August all over again. It was very, very. It was tough to watch.
Connecticut football, if you see it for what it is, it's unexpected with weather. I mean, I remember a coach used to just have footballs dipped in buckets of water, and we're like, is it going to rain? He's like, I don't know, but if it does, we're going to learn how to handle a wet ball. So these were all factors added into the game, knowing there might be elements that come around. But, it was weird. That was a really beautiful day. I mean, we're expecting to have that kind of icky, eerie, humid kind of feeling, but
no, it was beautiful. Yeah. It was tough for them. Bruno back to punt, stands at his own 22-yard line. NFA up 28-0 with another possession coming here in the third period. Good snap. Kick away, and it's blocked. It's blocked. You said it. You saw it coming. Scooped. And down to the 20-yard line. NFA. Ball was scooped up by Ethan Graham. It was blocked. It looked like number 50
coming off the left side
got in there and made the block.
Yeah, he just pushed, and then he went and attacked inside with a rip. And the defender, the offensive player didn't even stop him. He just went right inside with a rip, wide open for a block, and there you have it. Now he's holding his hand a little bit because that stung a little bit. But those are the things that you expect to have when you have an opportunity to see that this punt game is a little bit weak on that edge. So great opportunity right now for the Wildcats.
So 1st and 10, ball will be marked right at the 20-yard line. NFA up 28-0, looking to pile it on here and try to get healthy. Handoff, kicked outside. King, flag down, cuts it inside. Magnus will be crowned king. Did he get into the end zone?
Looked like he did.
They're going to mark him short, and there's a flag. So I think it's coming back.
Yeah, I think that was a blocking in the back. He was trying to get an inside technique with the defender, but the defender ripped upfield. And when you have those hands in the back, the referee sees it, they have to call it. What an eerie situation with Michael Myers playing in the background on that play.
And that is against. Now, we don't have a game again before Halloween. We do, however, have championship week starting on game day on Monday. Monday, we will be at Griswold High School for girls soccer. Tuesday at Ledyard High School for boys soccer. Tuesday, we will have our student simulcast over at Stonington High School. My man McGugan and company will take you through field hockey. And then Wednesday at New London Volleyball. ECC Championship Week, all live next week on game day. Now, we normally talk Halloween candy. We're not going to have a game till after Halloween. So, I know you don't, with the high blood sugar, you don't mess around with all the candy.
Candy corn milkshake.
Oh, that's just awful.
Remember that beat?
2nd and 13. I don't know what's worse, with the Yankees winning the World Series or the idea of a candy corn milkshake. Or Peter Wappy's onion soup.
Onion soup.
All three of them. All three of them sound repulsive.
You know what I had the other day is a nice handful of candy corn pumpkins.
Ooh, there you go.
I know you didn't, because no one on the planet that's not 4 years old would ever eat one of those. Handoff goes again to King.
King on the carry.
It'll bring up a long 3rd down.
Gain of 4, it'll be 3rd and 9.
I want to know, my question before we end tonight, I'm going to be what your Halloween routine is. And I'm going to even ask the great Lee Elsey, because I know that Lee Elsey lives in some people would call it a palatial manor.
Palatial
manor. In East Lyme.
I'll dress up.
On a street that is aptly named for my man Lee Elsey. And I want to know what Halloween candy, or if they're one of those porch lights are off.
Yeah.
Windows are drawn. Don't come to my house. Get off my lawn. That's what I'm going to ask at our next break. Cleary in motion on 3rd down. He gets the handoff, cuts it back inside. He won't have the first, but he will get them in position to go for it on 4th down. I don't get the impression that they're a field goal team.
No, not really. I'll tell you, my block is pretty quiet. They just hand out, it's an elderly community, so they hand out Ozempic.
I thought you were going to say they handed off butterscotch candies.
No, I rock those, though.
Some in the wrapper, some not in the wrapper.
So butterscotch candy's one, and the other one is the green spicy gummies where you put it in your mouth and it sticks to your gums and then it smells like peppermint.
At the old folks communities, the green spicy gummies are a little different these days than they used to be.
It's medicinal.
4th down. Driscoll throws low and caught. Either way, it's not going to be enough for the 1st down. It's going to be just short. And East Lyme, for back-to-back possessions, will hold. With 42 seconds remaining, they'll take over on downs just outside their own 10-yard line. So, Peter, I know where you live as well. Tough trick-or-treating area for you. Do you get kids trick-or-treating on your street?
5 to 7 maybe. So we gave up last year and just didn't even bother. And I don't know that anyone showed up.
You're not one of those that just throws a bucket out in front and says, "Be kind,
be kind, take
one, love your neighbor."
I think we did that 2 years ago, and the bucket was full when I got home.
So that means no one showed up, because little Tommy was taking the whole bag if it was still out there.
That's it.
42 seconds remaining, and we have a timeout. And while we have a timeout, I'm going to turn around.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask the great Lee Elsey, while we have him here, what does the Elsey household do? Do you pass out Halloween candy?
So, you know me. No. Lights off. I have a recording that loops of vicious dogs, Doberman pinchers, Rottweilers playing as loud as possible. Now, I was thinking, Case, now you know this candy, you're Italian. I was thinking maybe this year I would go with the hard grandma candy that sticks together, that has
in a jar.
Oh yeah.
And you got to dig in
You grab one, but you actually have 7 or 8, and they break teeth. So that it's one or the other.
I got a pair of pliers to loosen them up. I know what you're talking about. That's great stuff there.
I'm going to give Lee a bag of bit of honey.
Bit of honey.
To pass out to the kids.
Squirrel nuts, huh? That's a classic. The caramel.
First down, Garrow. Handoff. Nice hole up the middle. Gain of about 9 yards on first down. That one went to Larson. We've seen Larson make some big plays, and that was a good one there on first down. I think you should all be ashamed of yourselves. All of you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Candy corn shake, baby.
I have 7 bags of candy sitting at my house with just the possibility of a kid showing up.
I can swing by.
I don't have any. I don't have any candy corn. I don't have any squirrel nuts.
I'll get the back.
I got the good candy, the big Snicker bars, the Reese's.
That's what I'm talking about.
The
right
nerds for the people that like the sour.
There you go. Now
Hand off once again, and on 2nd and a yard, and that was Sister, but well, no, actually check that. That wasn't Sister. That was Bazzelli, and I don't think he had enough, but they sometimes give that generous spot. So let's see what they say, and I think they're going to say, yeah, let's give East Lyme. I'll tell you what that is.
Yep.
That's the white hat saying, it's 28-0. Let's give East Lyme.
Let's give East Lyme the first down.
Let's give him the 3 inches.
Let's see what we got.
So
they did. They gave him the first down, brother.
I live on a cul-de-sac, and we get 10 kids on the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
But what happens is, in certain years, the 10 kids on my street reach out to their friends because my street has 20 houses. It's a perfect little neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
So some years, we get 100 kids because each of the 10 kids on my street brings 10 friends.
Talking about spread the word.
And we get 100 kids. Then, I live on a cul-de-sac off of a busy street. So all the people that live on the busy street pile into a flatbed truck and come onto my street
to do the candy.
So I've had 300 people.
So that's a house party. That's like a block party.
One year we bought candy for 300 people, and I got 6 kids.
Wow.
And diabetes.
That's true. That's true. Listen, we got to keep forming with our metformin.
So I have the 7 bags. I don't know who's going to show up. Garrow on first down, handoff up the middle, big hole again. Call it 5, and that's how we're going to start this 4th quarter with a big run for East Lyme. I like that East Lyme is going back to sort of what they're going to need to do moving forward, right? It's 28-0. This game's probably done. But Bazzelli, the junior, right? Let's get him some carries. Let's get our offensive line working. Let's try to focus on, let's play this quarter.
Right.
Let's not worry about it. Let's play this quarter.
They're doing a great job handling it right now, playing really consistent football. It's just having some bad luck.
2nd and 5, Garrow from the shotgun. Looking to throw. Pressured, rolls right, running away from the defense, looking for anybody. Now he's corralled and bumped out of bounds. Gigliotti was the first one to get him. Got him back for a loss. It'll be 3rd. It looks like they're going to back him up to be 3rd and call it 7.
7, yep.
I like Gigliotti's effort. Evan Gigliotti is one of those motor guys, right?
Revving, full speed. Here's that bunch play we were talking about earlier. See if they can execute this play.
3rd and long. Garrow from the shot. Motion man across is Brown. We know he's got the wheels. Let's see if they try to operate to him. They go other side. Pressured. Garrow throws, and it's intercepted. Look at the footwork. Beautiful job by Clayhar. He came down with it. What an interception. He went up high for it, and he got the feet in bounds. Read it, picked it. Wildcat defense still pitching the shutout.
Man, they're playing really good defense. That was a good read. He kept everything in front of him, and the quarterback was trying to make that level read, but he couldn't get it right there on time. Nice pick, and then his footwork right into the sidelines to keep it going. That was great.
1st and 10 NFA. Ball will be at the 40-yard line of the Wildcats. Look at him get up after the anticipation and get both feet. I think he went NFA. I mean,
Look
NFL.
At that footwork right there.
He went NFL. You guys, I'll get them both
Those camera crews are on point tonight. That foot was right in there.
Beautiful job. First down, Wildcats. Driscoll operating from the East Lyme 40. And there was no defender out there. There was a guy so wide open. And obviously that meant some shenanigans. So flag on the play.
Yeah, this is where you got to get your boys together and focus. It's so tough. Again, it's just momentum buster plays that are really hurting the East Lyme Vikings.
10:52. This game has gone on for a while because of the amount of penalties we've had. There's been a lot of disjointedness. Ball backed up to the East Lyme 45-yard line, so it'll be 1st and 15. Driscoll, who has been accurate and efficient in the last few possessions for the Wildcats, stands right at midfield. Handoff to Sebastian. And Sebastian gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10 as the clock ticks with 10:40 here in the ballgame. Of course, after the game, you're going to want to stick around, right? This is always the best stuff on social media. You want to check out Game Day CT on social media because we're going to have the Philomena's Player of the Game Day. Going to give them their personalized shirt from Sporties. You're going to see the Scient play of the game. You're going to see the interview with the coach, all on Game Day CT following this one. Bad snap through the hands of Driscoll. He falls on it and does not remember that there is no intentional ground. There is intentional grounding. You can't do that. And there comes the flag. High school. Now, I think this is it's one of the greatest examples of kids learning something by watching. They have learned that if you're out of the pocket and you throw the ball, you avoid intentional grounding. Except in high school, where that's not the rule.
Can't do that.
And he didn't throw it past the line of scrimmage anyway, which is the other part of it. So it is a penalty, and that'll be against the Wildcats. It'll back them up.
And sometimes they have the little Madden 25 mentality, or that NCAA mentality where they think they can do things like that. That's why coaching sometimes is not just X's and O's. He's got to go over the rules with the players. But that's a learning lesson. They're going to grow from it. This really helps East Lyme right now.
Again, I think East Lyme's playing this thing as a quarter, right? They're playing this one quarter to try to build on something because next week, that Brookfield game is going to be very challenging. But then Montville and Bacon. And if you're a team like Bacon coming off your win against Montville tonight, you're looking at East Lyme like a winnable game too. So these teams that don't have the greatest records, in some ways, have more to play for because they see these might be our chances for wins.
Right.
And we're going to get looks like a timeout, East Lyme. So with 10:04 remaining here in the ballgame, 28-0 NFA, we'll take a timeout ourselves. You're watching Game Day live on day.com.
Communities that are no longer covered by local newspapers become news deserts that lack journalists providing government oversight and access to quality information. The Day is committed to providing comprehensive news coverage in every town in southeastern Connecticut, but we've had to scale back coverage in some towns, including Ledyard and North Stonington, due to market forces affecting local news companies around the country. We need the continued support of the communities we serve to help fund additional staffing that enables us to provide the kind of coverage our readers expect in every town in the region. If you'd like to support the Day's News Desert Fund, please visit givebutter.com/theday.
Third and, it looks like the ball is marked just outside of Old Lyme. Driscoll, deep ball, has a man, and overthrows Croxton at the 50-yard line. To put it in perspective, that would have been a 40-yard gain and still 20 yards shy of the first down.
It was a tough penalty. These are the things you got to coach these kids up during the game, and sometimes you got to, what they say, eat it, make a play, or you're going to lose about 10 yards, not run it and then lose 20 or 30. This was a very close game. This would have been tough for them.
I think it is 4th and 40. It's 4th and 42.
Is it the longest that we had this year? We've had some long ones, brother.
We have, but I think 4th and 42 is the longest we've got.
That was good. You called that one Old Lyme. I remember before you called the other one Yonder. I didn't know what Yonder was until I found out. I thought you were talking about the dog from that show Sound. It was Sounder. And I was like,
there was actually a great show on either Disney or Nickelodeon, Wander Over Yonder.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The kid's name was Wander. He was Wander Over Yonder.
For real.
Yeah. Driscoll will punt it away. The Vikings, I think also we're talking about them playing for the fourth quarter. They want to score.
Yeah.
Right? NFA wants the shutout, but East Lyme wants to score. Good punt from Driscoll. Takes an NFA bounce and goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line where East Lyme will have it 1st and 10 at their own 32. And the Vikings have had 3 chances inside the red zone. They've turned it over all 3 times.
Imagine that if they were all executed to be 21-28 going at it right here, right now. It's a really close game. I mean, the score really doesn't tell it, but again, East Lyme's not giving up. They're fighting.
First down. Vikings, Garrow. Handoff faked, keeps it himself. Up the middle, gain of 2.
They're on the keep across the 35 to the 36.
So, 2nd and long here, 2nd and 7 for East Lyme.
Yeah, NFA is not trying to give them anything on the outside. Those defensive linemen are sometimes going on the outside shoulder technique of the guards just to make sure they could stop those off-tackle opportunities.
Garrow, handoff. Nice run. Crossing midfield to the 45-yard line. Bazzelli, first down, but there is a flag.
Oh.
Down to the NFA 45, but there is a penalty on the play.
Casey, I need to make a correction to the info I gave you in double S. The loss for Ledyard actually drops them into 9th behind Joel Barlow.
Whoa.
Ooh, Joel Barlow, who opened the season with a 28-0 win over these Vikings. Barlow was at 3-2, so that would make sense. They're right there together. Ledyard has a tough schedule, though. Yeah. I love Ledyard's game, but I mean, they might come into that Fitch game on Thanksgiving, where that game might not just be for the Colonel Ledyard sword, but it also might be for a trip to the postseason for both teams. That Waterford-Woodstock game interests me as well. I'd love to find out what the score of that is. Or is that tomorrow? Bazzelli with the handoff, and he's tackled in the backfield for a loss. That'll bring up 3rd and long.
That big man, Alex Southworth.
It's at Woodstock, so I think Woodstock plays their home games on Saturdays.
Okay. That's going to be interesting to me. Woodstock's had a tough year. Waterford going in undefeated. Trap game maybe off a bye though, so I think can Waterford stay undefeated, keep themselves up with Wyndham at the top of the double S ratings.
That's right.
Garrow rolls left, pressure, throws his body, complete to Brown, out of bounds. They'll say he didn't have it, and it's going to be incomplete. It'll bring up 4th down.
Caught out of bounds. Fourth and 11.
So Bruno will punt. 4th and 12. 8-12 remaining here in the ball game. East Lyme trying to do something here to positive to roll out of this thing tonight. So far, they have not. That's a good punt from Bruno. Taken by Clayhar. Clayhar out to the outside, showing speed. It's going to be him and Bruno. Clayhar down the sideline, cuts it back inside. Special teams, special night.
That's right.
Wildcat touchdown, 34-0 NFA.
Great job by that special teams. They were playing a safe kind of punt protection, but when they saw their teammate Carey start running, they turned around and engaged, hat on hat, got the edge, and made a great job for a young man to score.
Clayhar did a fabulous job. Once he got to the outside and showed the speed, you could see it was going to be him and Bruno. And when did he cut it back in? And he cut it back in hard. Never had any doubts. Touchdown, and NFA doing everything right here, up 34-0.
Joel Barrow shot for the extra point.
So Barros will be in to kick his 5th attempt of the night. So far, he is 4 for 4. Snap is low. Hold is good, however. And the kick is good. 5 for 5 tonight from Joel Barros. 35-0 NFA. It's 7:53 remaining in the ballgame. We'll be right back with the finish of this one. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com. At the end of today's game, you'll have the Philomenas Player of the Game. Game day is brought to you by Philomenas. It's always game day at Philomenas, southeastern Connecticut's go-to destination for events, fine food, and great atmosphere. Offering an all-new brunch menu, wing and drink specials, and live music, Philomenas provides the premier atmosphere for viewing all of your college and pro football. Stop in and see Mike or Sarah sit at the bar and serve your party in one of 3 private dining areas. Everyone's family at Philomenas. And you're also going to want to follow Game Day CT after the game for the Scient Top Play. Pave the way for your students' financial success with a MySci account from Scient Federal Credit Union. Open a high-yield MySci savings account today and help support a positive financial future for your student. Visit scientfcu.org to learn more. 35-0 NFA. The kick comes down to East Lyme, and they're going to see if they can punch one in here with 7:43 remaining in the ball game and a running clock as we're at 35 points in the fourth quarter. A final, Killingly 40, Fitch nothing.
That was a blowout right there.
And, well, we knew, and at least we talked about it, that the one thing I know about the league is that Killingly is the class of the ECC.
Yep, they are.
Other teams have stepped up and had good years. Waterford, we mentioned. Wyndham, obviously, number 1 in Double S. But it's Killingly. That's the team that's won the state championships, been in the state championships, and they're right back at it again, undefeated. East Lyme's going to try to get one here before the game's over. Garrow throws, and it was almost intercepted again by Clayhar. He broke on that one again. And this is what's called being the front runner.
Yeah.
Right? It's playing with a lead. It's big stack poker, right? 35-point
right.
lead. And if they can pin their ears back, rush the passer, jump the routes.
It changes the dynamic of what defense could do right now. They're just going after this quarterback, bringing lots of pressure.
2nd and 10.
2nd and 10 for the 37.
Garrow this time hands it off. Zelli close to the first down. Clock will continue to run.
Zelli up the middle. To the 47.
3rd and a yard.
3rd down and a yard to go.
I do love a running clock. Not so much because of the score of the game, but it does help understand the timing of things, how much time is left. Another nice run from Bazzelli. Alexander Bazzelli, the junior running back, has shown some nice bursts for East Lyme. He's got them a first down. They're into NFA territory now. We've seen them knock on the door. They've been in the red zone 3 times, and they have turned it over a couple different times. But this time, they are trying to just get on the board. It's 35-0, but that score feels better, right? It feels better emotionally for you when you can punch one in.
It's a good learning lesson. I mean, a lot of film work here they can use to see how close they were at certain times and how well they played, certain series against a good offense like NFA right now, the way they've been playing. So, yeah, it's something to be great to punch it in, feel good for themselves, and move forward.
NFA with Woodstock next week, winnable game. Killingly the next week, if they win against Woodstock, and they've won 2 in a row, they're going to go into that Killingly game at least with saying, hey, let's go get that, let's pull the upset, right? Let's go beat that team, which I would love. And then they finish Waterford, New London, which should be great. And that New London game on Thanksgiving should be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Tough snap. Garrow handles it, gets it to Bazzelli, and Bazzelli will have 8 yards on first down.
Down to the 36, gain of 7.
Yeah, East Lyme right now has that tempo. They're going right now with some movements and getting some calls in there.
2nd down and 3 for East Lyme.
Hold a good series. Try not to make a turnover here.
2nd and short. Clock down to 4.5 minutes remaining as Garrow takes the snap, fakes the handoff, throws it out in the flat to Page. Page gets to the first down marker, and then he is buried. Quinn Haskins and Magnus King combined for the tackle, but not until Page had a first down, and the sticks will move. Did you really just diagram a play on the back of the roster?
Yeah, it's an old 36 power play. Kind of brings back memories. Well, it's funny. I was thinking about the different verbiages. That used to be the old man's blast play. Then it turns out to be 36 power, and it kind of continues on.
Blast?
It's the same play.
It was the blast?
Blast with a W. Yeah.
Garrow to throw. Hitch go. Deep ball for Brown. It's in the air and incomplete. Underthrown just a snitch. Just a little teeny bit, and King was right there on the coverage. So that'll be 2nd and long. I do love the running clock, though. Have I mentioned that I love the running clock?
Yeah.
You know why? Because 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
Deja visual with the running clock.
Well,
and I dreamt about it, too.
When the running clock is, when it's a regular clock, 5 minutes could be 25 minutes.
Exactly.
With a running clock, 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
5 minutes is 5 minutes.
Garrow keeps it himself. Has a first down.
That's it.
Bounces it outside. Still on his feet.
Good
Heads
job.
to the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings. Jacob Garrow gets the Vikings on the board with a beautiful run to the outside. Broke some tackles, showed the wheels, and the Vikings get 6.
Casey, my heart's jumping right there. I didn't realize they had a cannon. I thought Pete here had gas. Wow, what a play. Hey, you know what? A lot of heart for this young man. Experience a game like this and fighting. For him to score it, I think that really helps out because it brings a lot of caliber. You know, great blocking scheme on that. God, I didn't know they had cannons over here. That
Cannons to the left of us.
Whoa.
Cannons to the right of us.
Yeah. I'm not going to draw any more plays. I think I was intimidated by that.
Bruno with the extra point. It's good, and with 3:11 remaining here in the ball game, Jacob Garrow has gotten East Lyme on the board with a nifty 32-yard touchdown
Look
run.
at that one. Great block downfield right there with the receivers. Big lineman making a block there, and then that speed coming off the edge, working into the end zone. A lot of pride right there. I really like the way East Lyme is working. It's tough to see them going through this, but they didn't quit. Good job.
Cannon has left a plume of smoke over the field.
Plume. that thing popped my chest. I was like, badoof. I'm like, oh, Lord have mercy.
And did you hear about the apparition that appeared? It was Halloween, and an apparition appeared over East Lyme.
It's been a very eerie night, though. Think about it. You've been calling all these plays perfectly, and, I mean, we're talking about French noodle soup, whatever that thing was.
A tremendous amount of psychokinetic energy appearing over East Lyme.
Oh, man. And all I'm worried about when he said French soup was like, man, a grilled cheese right now would add to nice.
With a with
some tomato sauce, like tomato soup.
Tomato soup is underrated, by the way.
That's it. That's it. We just throw it out there.
Onside kick that didn't go 10 yards, so the officials will blow that 10.
Man, like tomato soup with some grilled cheese tonight, but I don't know. I got some pork chops ready. You know what that means.
I do have 4 pounds of macaroni and cheese sitting at my house right now.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, I could always dig into the 4 pounds of mac and cheese, but that's not a good idea for anyone.
I wish we had that machine from Star Trek where you could go pass it like Scotty and send me some of those macaronis that you got over there. I'll send you some of the delicious candy corn that I have. But hey, let me send this to you, a little candy corn milkshake. I tell you, it's amazing. Trust me.
So we'll try it again. Try the onside again. And NFA botched it. It's still loose. I think NFA fell on it that time. Pigskin time, though.
That was a swippy moment right there.
So the Wildcats will have it. Clock will run with 3:07 remaining.
Let's see how the Wildcats handle their offensive scheme here. You know, sometimes just having a good conservative offense, winding the clock like this can help out. But you never know.
So first down, NFA. Ball near midfield. High snap. Pitch out. Big hole. Sebastian. He'll gain 7. The clock runs with under 3 minutes remaining.
Down at the 46.
Look at that picture. Gotta love it.
So, clock will run. This thing will be winding down. NFA is going to look to just keep onto the ball for the next 2.5 minutes. Of course, like we said, you want to stay tuned after the game. Find us. I shouldn't say stay tuned. You want to find us on social media at Game Day CT. Check out the interview with NFA coach Dylan Schroth. You're going to want to find the Philomena's player of the game day. watch him get presented that outstanding shirt courtesy of Sporties.
They're still doing the wings, brother?
Oh, yeah. Free
Oh,
wings
my
for
God,
free
my
wings at
stomach.
Philomena's this weekend for the player of the game.
Mike, if you hear us, think about the Parmesan garlic for pasta, please.
And the Scient play of the game, which is always a lot of fun.
That's good stuff.
I'm trying to think of what play might be the Scient play of the game tonight.
Oh, some great plays tonight. I mean, some of them have been called back from penalties, but you know, we got our due diligence with the great excitement that these teams have. It's just, like I said, sad to see that if you look at it, and I'm trying to just think of the math here because we've been doing math. Hey, see, it could have been a very close game. It could be 28-35 with you know, those interceptions and turnovers that really hurt them. You know, at the same time, they didn't give up. That's one thing I got to say. The coaching staff at East Lyme, you know, definitely have these good young men. They're on the right track. They just got to go overcome some of these things. You know, the bumps and bruises of life sometimes comes out through these kind of games. But then, again, it's good to see NFA play their style of football.
Clock will run with 2:08 remaining here. 3rd and 5.5 for NFA. Driscoll, motion man, gives it on the jet sweep to Nicholas Sorrell. Sorrell gets the big gain, first down. Clock will continue to run. So I'll have to take a poll between you and Peter of who we think should be the Philomena's player of the game. I think there's 2 or 3 really good choices, so we'll talk about who we think that might be. As we're 1:45 remaining here from the end of this one. Again, starting Monday, championship week in the ECC. Monday from Griswold, it's girls soccer. Tuesday from Ledyard, it's boys soccer. Wednesday from New London, it's volleyball. And on Tuesday, our student crew will be over at Stonington High School for field hockey. And we'll have 4 championship games to present you as NFA, with 1:25 remaining, stays classy. Stay classy, NFA. And they drop to the knee, and they will let this thing run out.
NFA takes a knee, it'll be second down.
So second down, NFA will just take a knee to let this thing run. NFA will just sit on the ball. And 45 seconds remaining, and NFA takes a knee. So that's going to be the last snap necessary for the game. So while the two teams get things ready to go, we'll wrap it up here so that we can get down on the field and get our interviews with our player of the game as well as the head coach. Again, Game Day CT on all of our social medias for the player of the game interview, the coach's interview, and the Scient play of the game. Monday, 4:30, the first girls final over at Griswold High School. Tuesday at Ledyard, and Wednesday at New London High School for volleyball. We'll have also field hockey from Stonington. So for the coach, Pasta Santabria, Peter Wappy, and the crew, thanks to everybody tonight. 35-7, the Wildcats on top of the Vikings. Stay safe. Have a happy Halloween, everybody. And if you're interested in the ECC Championship Week, we'll see you Monday. You've been watching Game Day live on theday.com.